CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Pride and discipline. These attributes have guided Jacksonville coach Tom Coughlin and his Jaguars to a 3-0 mark. Now with key players lost to injury, quarterback Mark Brunell will have to step up against divisional foe Tennessee. Eddie George carried the load, but Steve McNair threw away the game last week, and the Oilers have dropped their last two. Now Jeff Fisher's team looks to get back on its feet. Today, a chance at redemption. Jacksonville, Tennessee next. From Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, it's the NFL on CBS as the undefeated Jacksonville Jaguars face the Tennessee Oilers in an AFC Central clash. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nashville. I'm Gus Johnson along with Steve Tasker. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're undefeated at 3-0 on the season, and because of their personnel, a lot of people talking about Super Bowl with this team.
Well, they've got a near superstar quarterback in Mark Brunell. They've also got the best left tackle in the National Football League in Tony Baselli. They've also got one of the top two receiving tandems in Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith. But what they haven't had in years past is a consistent running game. That's all changed. James Stewart rushed for 100 yards in their first two victories, but last week went down with a season-ending knee injury. Well, what happens? Fred Taylor comes in and is sensational. If Fred Taylor can continue to do the things he did last week in earning the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, this is a team that will be satisfied with nothing but a Super Bowl.
Now for Tennessee, this is a very big game for them. Despite being 1-2, they feel that a win today over a quality opponent like Jacksonville can really get them going.
Well, Jeff Fisher thinks this team all it lacks is confidence, and a little success will breed that confidence. The success starts at their quarterback position. Steve McNair did not get an opportunity to throw the football deep one time last week. That's going to change this week. This is a series between the Jaguars and the Oilers that has been marked from its beginning by big offensive plays. Tennessee is going to use that to their advantage this week to try and get back into the win column. If they can, this is going to be a game where Jeff Fisher will look back at the end of the season and say, that is when we turned it around in our favor.
So Tennessee, they won the toss and have elected to receive the football. This is Mike Archie inside his own 10-yard line, running it straight ahead. Archie up to the 30, make it the 32-yard line, a run of 23 yards. So on the field, Steve McNair, the starting quarterback for Tennessee, his second year as a starter, fourth in the NFL, and his numbers against the Jaguars, not very good, only one touchdown, and he's thrown 4 interceptions, and he's yet to win against the tough Jacksonville squad. The weather today, the temperature 88 degrees, but on the field, folks, 104, so it is a little warm here in the country music capital of the world. First down and 10 from the 31-yard line for the Oilers. Eddie George running the ball on first down, gets up to the 35. Kelvin Pritchett with the tackle. Offensively for Tennessee, the big change in their lineup, Mark Stepnoski, who missed all 3 of their previous games because of a knee injury. He starts at center along with Matthews, Hopkins, Lehman, and Runyon. And the backstand receivers, Yancey, Thigpen, Willie Davis are the receivers. Eddie George, 100 yards rushing last week, also had a great receiving game, 4 catches, 60 yards, best of his career receiving the football. Second down and 7 from the 34-yard line. First offensive drive of the game for Tennessee. Jackie Harris in motion. Play action McNair. Far side, McNair, Thigpen, nice catch, and he goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line. A gain of 20.
This is one of the things that gave them problems last week. They did not throw the football to their wide receivers very much at all. They stayed very short, very close to the vest in their passing game. Right from the get-go, they get out, throw the ball to Yancey Thigpen, make sure he's involved, and that's very important. Jeff Fisher told us that when his receivers catch a lot of footballs, they do very well against Jacksonville.
Yancey Thigpen signed as a free agent with this Tennessee squad, had 2 Pro Bowl seasons while in Pittsburgh. Makes it first down and 10 from the 45. Eddie George straight ahead, and he gets up to the 43-yard line. Tackle on the plate made by Tom McManus along with Kelvin Pritchett. Defensively for Jacksonville, Smengi Yurkovich, Kelvin Pritchett, who we just named, and Ronaldo Wynn, former #1 pick out of Notre Dame last year. And the linebackers, Brian Schwartz injured his knee last week against Baltimore. Tom McManus replaces him. Bryce Popp, the Pro Bowler, and Kevin Hardy on the outsides. Beasley, Thomas, the corners. Donovan Darius, hard-hitting rookie safety from Syracuse, along with Chris Hudson. 2nd down and 6 from the 41. Eddie George again. This time he's met at the line of scrimmage by Tom McManus, the 4th-year man out of Boston College, but his forward momentum will help him gain maybe 2 yards on the play. And as you mentioned, Steve, this Tennessee team, they want to look down the field a little bit more. Last week, Steve McNair was great against New England despite losing with the short passing routes, but they want to hit some long ones.
He says, listen, if you're going to be committed to the run game, and even if it's not working, keep giving it to Eddie. Give me the opportunity to keep going deep. Make them play us honest in the passing game.
3rd down and 3. George the lone setback, and they give it to him. Eddie George gets up over the 35, inside the 35. 1st down. Bryce Popp with the tackle.
The offensive line of the Houston Oilers is with Stepnoski. The Tennessee Oilers back to a veteran age. With Stepnoski back in there, that really helps Bruce Matthews, Hopkins, the rest of those guys. With a veteran in there, they feel a little more confident, and they're firing off extremely well. Mark
Stepnoski with the injured right knee. Missed the first 3 games, but he is back, and they say he's just as healthy as ever, ready to go. 1st down from the Jacksonville 33-yard line. McNair, far side, and it's caught. Yancey Thigpen goes up high to make the catch. He's stopped by Aaron Beasley, but Yancey Thigpen with the great vertical leap on that play.
Tennessee has struggled offensively early on in games, but the one thing they have not struggled on is the short passing game. Steve McNair is very accurate on the short passes. Yancey Thigpen out there, just a hitch, just throws it out there. That's great, especially in the first drive of the game. Make the defense know that you've got everything in the arsenal. You're going to use everything.
A gain of 6, 2nd down and 4 for the Oilers. This is their first offensive possession from the 27. McNair scrambles out of the pocket, short roll, picks up the 1st down with running room, tiptoes out of bounds. Grant Boyer there to chase him out of bounds. But an interesting scenario, Steve, for this Tennessee team. They understand, and according to when we talked to them yesterday, they said, hey, this Jacksonville defense, they're a bend but don't break defense. When you get inside the 20, though, you have trouble.
And this is exactly what we see here on the first drive. The Oilers moving right down the field. Now they're just inside the 20-yard line, and this is when the Jacksonville defense changes a little bit. They get a little more difficult to move the football on. It's going to be critical for the Oilers to get touchdowns and not settle for field goals.
8th play of the drive. Roan in motion. Eddie George finds a hole. George hops through the hole and is corralled by Bryce Popp. Gets close to the 15-yard line. So Eddie George and the Oilers inside the Tennessee inside the red zone. 6 possessions, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, but they want to turn those field goals into touchdowns. That's the point for them.
It's critical against a great offensive team like Jacksonville. You have to keep pace with them on the scoreboard, and field goals just won't do it.
Eddie George in motion. Empty backfield for Steve McNair. McNair. And it's incomplete. Ball intended for Roan, the H-back. Mike Roan, 6'3", 250, 4th year, out of Wisconsin.
And here you see it, the 1st down, they attempted a run-off tackle with Eddie George, and it was stuffed for a 2-yard gain, and now an incomplete pass, and here we sit at 3rd and 7 for Tennessee, and it's not where they want to be.
So Jeff Fisher said the key to this game, we have to prevent the big plays and have to come up with some big plays for ourselves. 3rd down and 7. From the Jacksonville 16. McNair out of the shotgun, looking for the fade pattern in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Ball intended for Chris Sanders, but it's incomplete. That's because Dave Thomas was standing right on the play. And as we mentioned, Tennessee will have to try to settle for a field goal.
Well, Dave Thomas on the coverage, and really it looks to me like the referee had to say that ball was uncatchable. Didn't think Sanders made Sanders didn't make a big enough effort to try and catch that football. Had he tried to go through Dave Thomas, they might have given him that. But Dave Thomas played that pretty well. He kept his hands free and didn't crowd the receiver too much.
Aldo Greco in to attempt a 34-yard field goal, and it's up and good. Aldo Greco, 7 of 8 on the season, and the Oilers on top first. They lead the Jaguars 3-0. 9:43 to go in the first quarter play. Tennessee scores first as they went on an 11-play, 53-yard drive. Held the ball for over 5 minutes and the 34-yard field goal for Aldo Greco.
It's exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Oilers wanted to do. Jacksonville gives up those 13-play drives knowing that if they can keep them under control, they're going to have a chance to win.
Reggie Barlow breaks the tackle at the 30. Trying to get outside, and Barlow all the way to the 39-yard line. A 31-yard return. So coming up, it's Mark Brunell and the high-powered Jacksonville offense. Welcome back, Vanderbilt Stadium. Here's the rookie, Fred Taylor, his first carry of the game over the 45, over the 40 rather, up to the 43, maybe 44-yard line. And a couple of players getting into it. That's Keenan McCardell, the wide receiver.
That's so typical of
exchanging pleasantries.
So typical of a division game. You see these guys all the time. You know each other. They probably had a nice little cordial conversation before the game, but you know what? You know, you just can't give an inch to any of these guys. You see them too often.
Second down and 6 for the Jaguars from their own 43. Brunell play action on second down out of the backfield, and he finds his fullback, Damian Shelton. And Shelton gets to midfield and a gain of 9 yards. Joe Bowden with the tackle. Mark Brunell against the Oilers, he's been spectacular. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has a 3-1 record. And offensively for Jacksonville, their tackles, 2 of the best in the NFL. Boselli and Cersei, Coleman, New Year, and DeMarco. And the backs and receivers, you won't find a better receiving tandem than Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith. Fred Taylor, the rookie, his first NFL start at tailback, and they pitch it to him out of the University of Florida, and he's chopped down by Blaine Bishop.
Blaine Bishop coming up from his safety position, and one of the things that Tom Coughlin told us was you have to account for the safeties in this Tennessee defense. They step up, they have 8-man fronts, and if you don't account for those guys, they're the ones that make the tackle, and that's a perfect example of it.
So Blaine Bishop, a 3-time Pro Bowler. Played collegiately at Ball State. Second down and 9 from the 48-yard line for the Jaguars. Fred Taylor again. This time finds a crease, and he gets to the 40-yard line. Marcus Robertson with the tackle along with Darrell Lewis. Defensively for Tennessee, Kenny Holmes, a late scratch because of a knee injury, so James Roberson replaces him at right end along with Evans, Walker, and Lyons. And the linebackers, Lonnie Martz on one side, Eddie Robinson, the former Jaguar, on the other. Joe Bowden is in the middle, and in the secondary, Walker Lewis on the corners. Bishop, Robertson are the safeties. So Jacksonville answering their first drive, 3rd down and 2 from the Tennessee 41. McCardell in motion. Brunell over the middle, thrown behind Jimmy Smith, but a flag has been thrown on the play. In the backfield, Steve Jackson was rushing.
Personal foul, 24, hitting below the knees on the passer. 15 yards, first down.
And a very costly penalty for Tennessee.
One of the things about this Tennessee defense is they bring people from everywhere, and they're going to get pressure on a quarterback no matter who they play. But in this case, you'll see him coming from the left of your screen right at Brunell. Steve Jackson, and just goes in low on Brunell. That's a no-no. That's as bad, and they'll call that as quickly as they will helmet to helmet or coming from behind, hitting to the blow to the head. And that's one of the things when defenders get free shots at quarterbacks, sometimes they get carried away.
So instead of getting the football back, a first down for the Jaguars from the Tennessee 26. Brunell in the end zone looking for McCardell, and it's incomplete. He was out of bounds. Darrell Lewis pushed him out of bounds, but Keenan McCardell caught the football out of bounds.
when he comes, you'll see he has to have both feet and the football in bounds, and that's not even close. It's an excellent call. It was pretty obvious, but that was Darrell Lewis trying to cover that ground. He got left inside on that and had to cover a lot of ground while that ball was in the air.
McCardell, the leading receiver for the Jaguars the past 2 years. Former 12th round pick by the Redskins. Tavian Banks in motion out of the backfield. Brunell flushed out of the pocket. He's got plenty of running room. Mark Brunell slides down inside the 15-yard line. That's what makes him so dangerous. A gain of 10 and a first down.
You'll see as he drops back, you'll see the defense just open up in front of him as the pocket forms. And one of the reasons is, this is why Mark Brunell is so dangerous. You'll see that he drops back, checks, you see his eyes go to his right, pulls the ball down, doesn't have time to go to his left, other receiver, and just goes and gets down. He's so valuable to this football team. Tom Coughlin wants him to be safe when he slides.
First down and 10 from the 15 for the Jaguars. Tennessee showing blitz. They give it to Taylor, and Taylor is stopped by Robertson. Marcus Robertson, the safety, came up, plugged the hole, and makes the play. He's in his 8th year out of Iowa State. Young man went to John Muir High School in Pasadena. It's the same high school as the great Jackie Robinson. Jacksonville, they're very dangerous when they get inside their opponent's 20. 6 touchdowns, 2 field goals, ranked 13th in the NFL. 2nd and 9 from the 14. Brunell audibly. Taylor cuts it back, and Taylor goes backwards. Fred Taylor met first by Blaine Bishop.
Once again there you see the run-stopping ability of the safeties on this Tennessee team. Brunell changed the play. Everybody on the field knows he changed the play. The defense just doesn't know what he changed it to. And that time he thought he saw something in the run game that was there. And then Tennessee was able to take it away with the stunts of their defense. They move around so much up front on the side of Tennessee on the defense. It confuses it. They'll bait you into running the football, then close the seam off after you've changed the play.
Now for Jacksonville, a 3rd down and 7. 3 receiver package. Barlow in the slot, McCardell in motion. Brunell, and it's complete. Ball caught by his trusty tight end, Pete Mitchell, inside the Oiler 5, a gain of 8 yards, and another first down.
Mark Brunell told us yesterday, and he and Tony Bassett were laughing. Pete Mitchell, he's small, he's slow,
he's weak. But he gets open.
Mark Brunell throws him the ball every chance he gets because he's open.
6'2", 240. Mitchell out of Boston College in his 4th year. And already the Jaguars eating up over 5 minutes. 10th play of the drive. First down, goal to go. Taylor trying to get outside, and Taylor bottled up at the 5-yard line. Eddie Robinson, who was released by this Jacksonville team at the end of training camp and came right back to Tennessee where he played before, he makes the tackle.
Just showing you the speed of the outside linebackers. Tom Coughlin told us yesterday that one thing he noticed about this team was they have speed at the outside linebackers, and right there Eddie Robinson kind of gave Fred Taylor the outside. He tried to take it, but then Eddie Robinson just closed the cushion and he had nowhere to run.
2nd down, goal to go from the 5. Taylor the lone setback. McCardell in motion. Play action. Brunell on the run in the end zone. Touchdown. Damon Jones with the touchdown. Caught one last week against Baltimore. He catches number 2 today.
It's a little run fake here. Mark Brunell comes out and he'll roll to his left. Being a left-handed quarterback is very natural for him, and it's kind of different than other teams do because everybody else has right-handed quarterbacks. And this is a perfect illustration of Jacksonville's philosophy. We'll score touchdowns, you take field goals.
So Damon Jones proving to be very effective down by the goal line. His 2nd touchdown in the last 2 weeks. And the extra point is good. So with 3:25 to go here in the first quarter of play, Jacksonville up 7-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Air. Center. and by IBM.
7-3, Jacksonville with the 5-yard touchdown reception from Damon Jones. He's in his second year out of Southern Illinois, and they really feel that he has the potential to be a big-time tight end in this league. Rodney Thomas returning for Tennessee from his own 10. Thomas with the seam. Cuts it back. Thomas all the way up to midfield. Tackle made by Jeff Kopp, but a 39-yard return for Rodney Thomas. And with 3 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the first quarter, Oilers with the football and good field position. And welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee, where the Jaguars lead at 7-3, but Jeff Fisher should be very pleased with that return from Rodney Thomas.
Well, he took Derek Mason off kickoff return because Rodney Thomas, he feels, sticks the ball up in there, runs north and south, and that's what he wanted out of that return game, and it paid off.
So the Oilers start with good field position at their own 49. Here's the delayed handoff. And Fernando Smith with the tackle as Eddie George ran the football. Another look at the touchdown.
You'll see him sneak out, just run across and just mirror Mark Brunell.
Damon Jones.
Damon Jones is just, that's that simple. That's a play that they have to be aware of. That's a basic play that Jacksonville will run probably 5 times during this football game.
Damon Jones, his 3rd career touchdown. 2nd down and 7 for the Oilers at the Jacksonville 48. Play action for McNair. McNair in trouble, and he dumps it. Wise play by Steve McNair. Ronaldo Wynn had 2 hands on him. Now let's go to New York. Jim Nantz for an NFL update.
Well, Gus and Steve with John Elway in street clothes, the hamstring injury. He's going to sit out today. Bubby Brister comes in. Opening drive, 81 yards and a touchdown pass to Ed McCaffrey. 7-0 Broncos. Let's head back down to Nashville.
All right, Jim. Ed McCaffrey had a brother, played here at Vanderbilt. Pretty good basketball player, Billy McCaffrey.
Is there anybody in sports that you don't know?
Yeah, we like basketball at CBS, especially college basketball.
You amaze me, man.
3rd down and 7 from the 48. McNair looking, dumps it off. Eddie George with the catch. Bobbled it, but goes forward, gets the 1st down. Kevin Hardy with the tackle, but Eddie George well aware of the 1st down marker, and he got it.
And that's a big part of their offense, something they've emphasized more this year, using Eddie, not so much just handing it to him, but giving him a long handoff, sending him out of the backfield, let him catch it, and then make the yards. Watch him stay concentrated on. That's difficult to do. Believe me, I've bobbled my share of passes when you're sitting there trying to catch a ball.
Not used to.
You know that people are chasing you, and it's gonna. And as soon as you grab it, somebody's gonna be there. But he had good concentration, was able to get the 1st down.
Picked up 10 yards, 1st down for the Oilers from the Jacksonville 38. Jackie Harris, the motion man. McNair stumbles, looking downfield, got a wide open receiver, got him, Thick Pin touchdown, 38 yards. Yancey Thigpen last week, very critical of some of the play calling. He said they didn't go down the field enough. Well, Yancey, I guess sometimes when you complain a little bit, you get your wish. He catches the touchdown, a 38-yarder.
Well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and Yancey Thigpen told me, he said, we didn't throw the ball deep at all. Let's do it. Let's make it. And they said, yeah, you know what? This whole series has been revolved around the big play. We want our guys to step up and do that. That's the perfect time to do it early in the game. That's a huge boost for this Houston offense, exactly what they wanted to do today.
Aldo Greco in to attempt the extra point, and it's good.
Steve McNair drops back and waits for his receiver to come open, looking down, finally looks over to his right, sees Yancey Thigpen, just lofts the ball up. That's a good deep ball, gives his receiver a chance to execute and adjust to the football.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the NASDAQ stock market and by Claritin.
So Tennessee sending it away. This one kicked deep in the end zone, and Reggie Barlow takes a knee, a touchback, and that's what they brought Craig Hendrich over to Tennessee to do. He came from Green Bay. Jacksonville starts at their 20 after this. 1:29 to go in the first quarter play. Tennessee leads at 10-7, and Yancey Thigpen really got the crowd going here in Tennessee with the touchdown. Thigpen, who played in Pittsburgh a season ago, was second in the AFC in total yards at over 1,300 receiving. Now Jacksonville starts from their own 20 and a first down. Taylor. And he'll be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Watch McNair on this throw down the field to Yancey Thigpen. He knows that it's going to happen. He's got to get back, give his receiver a chance to get up on the defensive back, and then let the football go. And watch what happens. Bang! Jose White making sure. And the resulting touchdown. It's illegal to throw the football into the stands, but you know what? You can just go up and hand it to your favorite person.
Not bad.
That's perfectly legal.
You told me yesterday they get fined, what, $2,500 for throwing
If you throw it, it's $2,500.
Second down and 9 from the 21. Brunell under pressure, got it away, incomplete. Lonnie March broke free and dumped Brunell in the backfield. And the ball intended for McCardell is overthrown.
One of the things that Tennessee wants to do is they want to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. Especially, and it's very important that Tennessee wins on first and second down. They've got to make sure that they can get Brunell into obvious passing situations.
Makes it second down, make it third down and 9 rather, from the 21. Brunell out of the shotgun. Brunell near side, and it's broken up at the last moment. Denard Walker got a hand on it as it was intended for Reggie Barlow. And Jacksonville has to punt for the first time. So some good defense being played by this Oilers squad.
Tennessee with the big momentum here, stopping Jacksonville 1, 2, 3 and out. That's difficult to do.
Mark Brunell a little upset. Pro Bowl MVP last season. That brings on Brian Barker, ninth-year man out of Santa Clara. His kick short, wobbly. Derek Mason gets away from it. And it trickles inside the 30 to the 26. A 53-yard punt. Now, CBS Sports Live puts you inside the game. From late-breaking news and in-depth team reports to sortable statistics. Get 24-hour NFL coverage on cbs.sportsline.com. Now, you're an old return man. Mason, should he have picked that ball up?
You've got to make every effort to catch that football. Especially the only time, if it hits the ground, you'll be allowed to catch it. And the smart thing is to catch it on that first big hop. After that, forget it. You got to get away from it. And that punt was a poor punt that they got a great roll out of. It ended up to be a net 53, and that is huge.
So the Oilers pushed back to their own 26. Eddie George, the deep back. Play action, McNair on first down. Near side, incomplete. Intended for Willie Davis, 7th year. Former Kansas City Chief. He's out of Central Arkansas.
Little play action fake off to the right side, and then coming back, throwing to the single receiver on man-to-man coverage against Dave Thomas. And that was on Steve McNair. That was just a throw that he missed, Willie. He just missed it.
Last week against New England, McNair had a career-high 28 completions. At one time, he had hit his first 10, but he threw 2 interceptions, one a very costly one, a 30-yard return for Lawyer Malloy as the Oilers dropped the football game. McNair passing again on the slant pattern. This time it's caught. His favorite receiver, Yancey Thigpen, with the catch at the 35-yard line. Aaron Beasley with the tackle. And he is really starting to eat up Beasley.
Yancey Thigpen, you can tell he's into the game. He's caught, I think this is his 4th catch of the game. This is a quick slant. You know you're going to get hit, but reaching back, that's a difficult catch on a quick slant when the ball is behind you because that is a speed route. He's running flat out and has to reach behind him without breaking stride.
Yancey Thigpen already 4 catches, 74 yards into the first quarter of play. Tennessee up by 3. And welcome back to Nashville. Gus Johnson along with Steve Tasker. Tennessee, Steve, they said they wanted big plays. Well, they're getting them so far.
Yeah, they didn't have any chance to go deep last week, and they said, listen, if this whole series has been revolving around long pass plays, big plays on offense, we want to put that in our game plan and make it work. And there you see Steve McNair and Yancey Thigpen. They're the guys that did it.
Already, Thigpen 74 yards in receptions, including the big 38-yard touchdown. And they hand the ball up to George, and he picks up the first down. Bryce Pop with the tackle. So Eddie George, 100 yards rushing last week. Prior to that, 15 carries, 11 yards against San Diego. And they really wanted to get him going last week against New England, and did. And he is carrying over from where he left off last week. Broncos beating Washington in the nation's capital so far, and Philadelphia early lead over Kansas City at home. First down and 10 from the 37. Eddie George cuts it back, has an opening, and George lowers his shoulder and gets up to the 42. Fernando Smith was there not to tackle him. He caught him on that play.
Eddie George has great movement by the offensive line up front. Eddie George looked like he was running through a passing pocket. Had 2 or 3 places he could have run, picked the one that he felt he could get the most yards out of. They're really playing well on first and second down, Tennessee. It's crucial for them to do that, because they don't want to put Steve McNair in obvious passing situations, because that has crushed him.
And the rushing so far, 35 yards for the Oilers. Eddie George, the last 3 times against Jacksonville, he's rushed for under 50 yards each game. Play action, McNair sets up. Underneath, and it's caught. Davis slides down at the 35. Another big gain for the Oilers. And right now, they are mixing it up nicely. That's a gain of 23 yards.
Yancey Thigpen on one side running a deep post right through the free safety. Then Willie Davis just crossing into the open area vacated by number 37 there, Hudson, at the bottom of your screen, and there it goes. Wide open spaces for Willie Davis, and this Tennessee offense has to feel very good about the way they're executing their game plan.
So Willie Davis with the catch. He lines up on the near side. First down. Short drop for McNair over the middle, and this time it's caught by his tight end, Jackie Harris, tackled by Kevin Hardy. Now tomorrow on CBS, catch the hot new Monday night lineup, starting with Cosby. Then it's the new hit comedy critics and audiences are raving about The King of Queens with Kevin James and Jerry Stiller. Then it's Monday night's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by the hilarious Brian Benben Show and the critically acclaimed new drama LA Doctors. Tomorrow right here on CBS. Second down and 3 from the 30-yard line for the Oilers. Getting their confidence going right now, already leading. Quarterback draw, McNair with room, cuts it back, runs a 4.5 40, gets inside the 20, and a first down. McManus with the tackle, but a 12-yard gain for Air McNair.
When you've got a quarterback that weighs 230-plus pounds, you can use him as a fullback. And when he's as fast as Steve McNair is, it becomes a weapon, and this is really a part of their run game. Drop Steve McNair back on a quick drop. They double on Kelvin Pritchett up front, and Steve McNair just picks his spot, gains of 9 yards, and that's a huge boost for a running game.
First down from the 18-yard line. Thigpen in motion, and McNair is just mugged in the backfield at the 25, and he gets up slowly.
Kelvin
Pritchett.
I'll tell you, I'll teach you to double team me. You know, the one play before, he got blown off the line by Jason Lehman and Mark Stepnoski. Well, the next play, he splits the gap and gets to Steve McNair before he can even turn around and hand the football off.
Pritchett, a former Detroit Lion, 3 sacks in 8 games last year, doing a little Sammy Sosa action. You used to do that, didn't you? Sammy got that from you.
I'd give that a little home run action, that sack.
That's a loss of 6 yards. Second 16 from the 24. Frank Wycheck in motion. McNair, pocket collapsing, lost the football, scramble for the ball, and it is picked up by Jacksonville. Chris Hudson recovers the fumble, but a flag is on the play.
It looks like it may be against.
And it's holding against Jacksonville.
I think they're going to call Bryce Pop for keeping Eddie George from being able to recover that fumble. That's illegal. He held Eddie George away from the football and tackled him to keep him from being able to recover the fumble. That's illegal. Tom Coughlin is not happy about that. He's trying to say, I think that Bryce Popp thought Eddie George picked the football up, but the referees are not going to go for it. We'll see how they sort this out.
Bryce Popp, originally a Packer, 3 years as your teammate in Buffalo.
A guy I played with, and who is, you know, you see him walking around and, you know, in the hotel and stuff. He's built like an action figure. You know, it's like, who is that guy? He can play some football, but I think that's what happened on this play. He tackled Eddie George while Eddie George was trying to pursue a fumble. Now they're shaking.
During the loose ball, defense number 95 holding. We will penalize from the previous spot as the ball was fumbled behind the line of scrimmage. The foul took place beyond the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, first down, Tennessee.
That may be the longest explanation of a penalty I've ever heard. But watch, you'll see Steve McNair drop back in the pass, pats the ball, he's trying to get rid of it, and then he tries to step up, and he'll get hit on the arm. Ball pops up in the air. Eddie George tries to grab it. Pop grabs George. Hudson can't grab it. Darius Donovan comes in blocking people away. Right there, you'll see Bryce Popp tackle Eddie George. That's illegal. And ultimately, it cost him the football on this foot play. Now, Tennessee not only gets to keep the football, it's a first down.
There's Bryce Popp playing the strong side linebacker this season instead of the weak side. So a huge play against the Jaguars. McNair passing. McNair over the middle, and it's caught. Jackie Harris once again at the 15. Chris Hudson with the tackle.
Steve McNair throwing this off balance late over the middle. Man,
that's dangerous.
That's dangerous. It really is. And it's one thing, if Houston can stick to this game plan and not make the huge mistake, they're going to be better off.
So from the 15-yard line, the Tennessee Oilers leading it 10-7. Wide check. George in the backfield. Here's Eddie. And Eddie over the 15 down to maybe the 13-yard line. There's Big John Yurkovich with the tackle, 8th-year man out of Eastern Illinois, and he's a personality in this town, has his own talk show called Yakkin' with Yurko. And there is an injury on the field. Fernando Smith. And Smith looks to be in a lot of pain. Right now, 10:04 to go in the second quarter of play. Back to Nashville after this. Tom Coughlin can only look on. 10-7. Tennessee leads Jacksonville. And another injured player for the Jaguars, and they have really been plagued by injuries this season. Fernando Smith goes off the field.
It just comes in right here in front of you, right up number 96, right in the middle of your screen. That's just a low block trying to cut him. Wycheck comes in trying to cut his knees and gets a bad angle. And Fernando Smith may be gone for a while.
10th play of the drive for the Oilers. They've held the ball for 5:28. McNair far side, and he just threw a dart. That's caught by Mason. Dave Thomas pushes him out of bounds, but the great timing route by Mason and McNair.
Steve McNair threw an absolute perfect pass on time, right on the money. Derek Mason in the right spot at the right time. It's impossible to defend, and this is the kind of play they need down inside this red zone. They've got to get a touchdown here. They don't want to settle for field goals. This is crucial for them to extend their lead against this good Jacksonville Jaguars team.
Call this Jaguars defense a bend but don't break defense. They usually make you settle for a field goal. First down goal to go for the Oilers. Eddie George stutter stepping through the hole, and he gets inside the 10, maybe to the 8-yard line. Yurkovich again with the tackle. And Jacksonville, they have really been plagued by injuries all season. Take a look at some of the guys hurt. James Stewart last week, he's out for the season with the knee. Brian Schwartz also last week with the knee. Lageman, a bicep injury, he's out for the rest of the season.
All three guys very important to this team as well. Now they just lost Fernando Smith in this game. It's a testament that they're 3-0 with all of those guys injured.
Second down goal to go from the 8-yard line. Here's Eddie George, and George on the misdirection play doesn't fool anybody, especially Kevin Hardy. Hardy right there standing on the play makes the tackle, and that'll be a loss for Tennessee.
Eddie George faked a handoff to Frank Wycheck, and Nobody was fooled on this play. It faked an end around underneath handoff, as you'll see Eddie George moving to the right of your screen right there. Kevin Hardy with his hand on the ground just pursued, didn't pay any attention to the crossing of Wycheck and just went straight for Eddie George.
So on third down goal, Sanders thick pin split wide to the far side. 4 receiver package, thick pin in motion. Here's McNair, steps up, got it away and incomplete. Intended for Yancey Thigpen and Mike Logan defensively for Tennessee. And here comes the field goal team.
And you'll get an idea of why they want to score with big plays. Once they get in the red zone, it's difficult to score, but from further out, they can.
Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert will have all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of next week's big AFC East battle between the undefeated Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets, coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. So Del Greco in to attempt a 32-yarder. Hendrich is his holder. Al Del Greco is good. 2 of 2 on the afternoon. So the scratch golfer gives the Oilers a 13-7 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Oldsmobile, Bud Light, and by KFC.
Welcome back to Nashville. 13-7. Tennessee leads Jacksonville. Fernando Smith, a sprained left knee. His return is doubtful, and he is very disappointed on the sidelines. Meanwhile, Hendrich kicks it out of the end zone, and the Jaguars have to start on the 20 once again. 7:40 to go. Oilers leading at 13-7. Now, next Sunday, beginning at noon Eastern on the NFL on CBS, it features regional action. Many of you will see an AFC East shootout between Dan Marino's Dolphins and the high-octane offense of the New York Jets. Some areas, it's Drew Bledsoe and the Saints. And check your local listing. It all gets started with Jim Nance, George Seifert, Marcus Allen, and Brent Jones. The NFL today. First down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Brunell, plenty of time in the pocket, and it's picked off. This one picked off Darrell Lewis, and he gets to the 31-yard line. Jimmy Smith makes the tackle, and the Oilers are in business.
Mark Brunell had plenty of time to throw this football, but the receiver was well covered and didn't have a chance to jump because he was his body was touching the defender, and it went over the top of his head, and he couldn't jump up. And Darrell Lewis was playing center field and just picked up the garbage there as it went over the top. You see it there. Jimmy Smith couldn't get back and jump up for it. Darrell Lewis is just in the right place at the right time. Anytime you can get a turnover against a good football team at home, the momentum is huge. Watch, you can see the whole sideline for the Oilers. Jeff Fisher and the gang. That's exciting for them, and they really feel like they're getting on a roll.
So they take over, first down and 10 from the 32. Eddie George straight ahead, and he gets to the 30. And yesterday when we spoke to Jeff Fisher, he talked about his defense coming up with some kind of big plays to change momentum, to get the offense back on the field. That's a perfect example of what he was talking about.
His whole defense is so complex, and it's all centered around being pressure type. They want to pressure the offense, which means force them into their own mistakes and then take advantage of them. They get pressure on the quarterback in the pocket. They bring guys from all different angles.
Hands in the face. Defense, number 41, 5 yards, automatic first down.
So Dave Thomas called for the penalty.
And that defense, they jump around so much in their defensive fronts that it confuses an offense. And when they drop back in the pocket, you'll see that it causes them. You can see there, that's the penalty right there. And that is a penalty. Dave Thomas against Willie Davis, and that is a penalty.
Dave Thomas has been playing excellent football for Tom Coughlin and the Jaguars. But right now, the Oilers in striking range at the 24. Play action. McNair rolling out of the pocket, and it's incomplete. Willie Davis had the football at the 12-yard line, and that's one he needs to catch.
You could hear that hit his pads all the way up to the booth here. That was something that it got right in on his pads. You can hear it pop off the plastic. He needs to get his hands out, catch that, and guide it in. That was just a drop ball.
And they're working against Aaron Beasley. They obviously think that they can be effective against Aaron Beasley, the third-year man out of West Virginia, who set a Big East record with 18 career interceptions while playing in Morgantown. Here's Eddie George, empty backfield for McNair. On 2nd and 10, McNair pumps, got it off. Jackie Harris again turns it downfield and gets close to the first down. Dave Thomas with the tackle. That's a gain of 6 yards for Jackie Harris, who came over as a free agent from Tampa Bay.
Steve McNair missed Yancey Thigpen out by himself. You'll watch what happens. You'll see what he does. Look, come on, look. That's frustrating when you come out. So many times the guy throws you the ball and you got 3 guys hanging on you. Then when you're standing by yourself, you don't see it.
Brings up 3rd down and 3 from the 13-yard line, making the 18-yard line. McNair on the slant. This time he has Thigpen. Thigpen, what a run! What a run by Yancey Thigpen. Yancey Thigpen, 18-yard touchdown. But the yak yards after the catch, really important on that play.
He comes off and just runs a quick slant, and really it was his own individual effort after the catch that got him into the end zone, shrugged off one tackler, and then bowled his way in. That's why he did it. Now they're going to go for 2 because of the point spread.
And yesterday,
because of the lead that they have now.
Eddie George running the football. George towards the end zone, and he does not get in.
They go for 2 there because they have a 10-point lead.
Is no good.
And with that, if they get a 12-point lead, it makes a difference. You'll see here, Yancey Thigpen catches the slant, shrugs off Bryce Pop, and then just bowls his way in. That is why you sign a Pro Bowl wide receiver.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Volkswagen and by First Union.
Welcome back, Reggie Barlow from the 8. And Barlow over the 25 up to the 27-yard line. Terry Killens with the special teams tackle, a return of 19 yards. Well, the season premiere of Chicago Hope. Wednesday night, the season premiere at 10 o'clock, 9 Central. Yancey Thigpen, 18-yard touchdown, already had a 38-yarder from Steve McNair. So in the first half, it's been a big one for him. And the Jaguars with the deficit as they run the football. Fred Taylor over the 30 up to the 35, where he stopped by Marcus Robertson. And talking to the Oilers yesterday, they talked about how all the pieces are in the right place. Even Eddie George, he said, you know, it's like us being in a bubble. We have all the right pieces in the right place, and we just need to stick a hole in that bubble and emerge through it, and then we're going to be in good position.
Looks like they brought a needle with them today because they're poking a hole in it.
That was pretty good by you. 2nd down and 3 from the 35. Grinnell over the middle. It's picked up again. Eddie Robinson. And he gets to the 43. 2 interceptions. Robinson, he spiked that ball because he was cut by this Jacksonville team at the end of preseason.
And they're going to call a penalty on him, probably for a block below the waist on their interception return there. It was a late flag coming in, but that feels so good when you're released by one team and then to come back and play so well against them. You know that he is really motivated to play well in this football game today.
Lane Bishop, the defensive captain, speaking with the referee.
Taunting at the return, number 55, 15 yards, 1st down.
All right, Steve.
I don't know. I don't think so. That's not taunting. Well, you'll see Brunell throw it, and it's tipped by the defender.
Joe Bowden.
Joe Bowden back there. The linebacker's playing way deep. This is a deep route. The linebackers had plenty of time to get back into the coverage. And then you'll see he stands up.
Look at that.
Okay.
I guess that is taunting.
Maybe, all right. Maybe you could construe that as taunting.
As taunting.
All right, it was a penalty.
So Mark Brunell has thrown 2 interceptions. He only had 2 coming into the game here the entire season. And the Oilers take over. First down and 10 from their own 42-yard line. Play action on first down for McNair. McNair let it go, incomplete, intended for Thigpen. Aaron Beasley covered.
The ball looked to slip out of his hand as he released it. It came out of there kind of wobbly. Wasn't tipped, but Brunell not having a good day. And really that second interception was not his fault. It was tipped. Has thrown for a TD, but 3 for 8 is not going to get it done for him.
Mark Brunell, who is out of Washington, spent time with the Green Bay Packers as a backup. Brett Favre beat him out. He said he just wanted a chance to play and show his talents, and Jacksonville has given him that opportunity, and he is an all-star now. Second down and 10 from the 42. McNair audibly. Here comes a blitz. McNair picked up nicely, and Roan with the catch, and he gets close to the 40, but what a block in the backfield. What a block. Tom McManus came through, and Steve McNair got a block from somebody in his backfield. It may have been Eddie George.
I believe it was Rodney Thomas stepping up. Rodney Thomas stepping up, you'll see, and he's got his hand down in the backfield. And as he steps up, that play was completely Steve McNair. He called the play, saw it, and executed it. And that was all him coming up big. Rodney Thomas.
Gain of 16 yards. Another first down. McNair passing. Underneath Frank Wycheck. And Wycheck gets to the 30 and out of bounds. A flag has been thrown. Gain of 11 for the former Redskin.
Identical pass play to the one they just, the pattern at least was identical to the one they just ran and completed. They must see something out there by the tight end running an out route about 12 yards down the field. That's 2 times in a row. That coverage is vulnerable in that spot, and they're exploiting it.
Pass interference. Defense.
Now, if he says defense, he's got to point the other way.
Offensive pass interference. Offensive pass interference. Number 89. Thank you. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
So Wycheck.
Donovan Darius getting his 2 cents in on the call.
Frank Wycheck, who's been playing with an injured foot, a strained right foot, and he is the favorite target. As Steve McNair has led the team in receptions the past 2 seasons. Out of the H-back position. That H-back position made famous by Joe Gibbs, I believe, when he was with the Skins.
That's right, and so many times even you'll see that offensive innovation is brought on by defenses, and Lawrence Taylor was the guy that you need an H-back, you need a big guy out there to stop him from coming off the corner. And it applies still today in these games now. You'll see quarterbacks who are mobile. That's brought on by great defenses who can pursue.
First down and long from the 48. They need to get to the 32-yard line for a first down. Here's the pitch, and Wycheck to midfield, tackled by Kevin Hardy. Now, next Saturday at 3 Eastern on CBS Sports, it's a hotbed of SEC action. You'll see T. Martin and the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Auburn Tigers. It all starts with college football today. And I tell you what, them Vols, they've been playing some great football. Last week they beat Florida. They are ranked in the
They handed it to Houston
top
yesterday.
5, number 2. Pardon me, go ahead.
They handed it to Houston yesterday. They won big.
Love them down here in Tennessee, although this is Vanderbilt country here in Nashville. Somebody on the offensive line moving. They have been Brad Hopkins.
False start. Offense prior to the snap. 74. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So they say it's Bruce Matthews, number 74.
Second down.
Watch right side.
Yeah, the right side. You'll see Brad Hopkins hops up, and when he does, Bruce Matthews hops up. Yeah. And it's simultaneously. Yeah, they both got it on that one.
So they give it to the 16-year veteran. Time of possession, the Oilers have really controlled the football. Second down and a long 23. McNair steps up, in trouble, and it's picked off. Steve McNair, Travis Davis picks it off up the sidelines. Davis still running, and he gets to the Oiler 30-yard line. Only the third interception of the season for Steve McNair, and Travis Davis runs it back 34 yards.
He missed Frank Wycheck, threw it right over the top of his head, trying to go deeper down the field to Derek Mason. Missed Frank Wycheck standing by himself, but that's what you'll see Wycheck right there on the field, and it goes right over his head.
So with 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the first half, Jacksonville trailing 19-7. They've got a chance to put some points on the board. Steve McNair, 13 of 21 through his first interception today, had 2 last week against New England. Prior to that, he had gone 99 straight passes without throwing an interception. So the Jaguars take over. First down and 10 from the 31. Draw play. Taylor. And Fred Taylor gets close to the 20-yard line. Darrell Lewis, the cornerback, with the tackle, but it's a gain of 9.
Anytime you've got the best left tackle in football, you're going to try and run right behind him, and they did just that. Tony Baselli sealing off the left side and giving Fred Taylor just a chance to pick his spot for an easy little gain of 9 on a first down run play. That's something you wish you could do every single series.
Tony Baselli, a mean and nasty left tackle, one of the best in the National Football League. Second down 1. Taylor again, and he lunges forward and gets the first down. Pratt Lyons there to tackle him. So it's the 2-minute warning, and Jacksonville trailing 19-7, but they have the ball at the Tennessee 21. 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter, with the Oilers leading the Jaguars 19-7. Now, coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert will have all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of next week's big AFC East battle between the undefeated Dolphins and Jets. Steve McNair left the field and trotted into the locker room, and off the bench rose David Craig, the 19-year veteran. He's ready to go into the game. We are not aware of Steve McNair's status. And also Rodney Thomas, who gave McNair a great block on their last offensive series, has a concussion.
He will not be back.
So the Jaguars from the 21, a first down. Brunell passing into the flats. Fred Taylor, and he is mugged. Joe Bowden, the middle linebacker, closed quickly and makes the play. And Mark Brunell getting up slowly.
Brunell took as good a hit as Fred Taylor did on that play. We talked to Joe Bowden yesterday, and he said he's moved from the outside inside to the inside, and his reads are different. It's getting used to it as you see him cross the plate. As Brunell takes the hit, everything changes now with Joe Bowden coming inside. He reads the guards instead of the outside people, and it's changed for him, and he's really adjusting well to it.
Second and 15. They lose 5 on the play. Brunell underneath. Pete Mitchell with the catch, and Mitchell gets to the 12-yard line. So he always has a way of getting open, Pete Mitchell. And he's stopped by Eddie Robinson.
And Jacksonville caught the Tennessee Oilers in a zone coverage back there, and Mitchell just coming in, finding the area. Nobody running with him because they're all guarding an area rather than a man, and they're able to find that open area and just sit.
13-yard pickup for Mitchell. Third down and 2. Brunell firing, and it's caught once again by Mitchell. Pete Mitchell, the all-time leading receiver when he left Boston College, and he picks up a first down.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Back in a moment. Steve McNair back on the field now with 34 seconds to go in the second quarter. Remember, folks, it's really hot down there. 106 degrees on the field, the temperature at kickoff time. First down, goal to go for Jacksonville at the Tennessee 7. Brunell all day, incomplete. Ball intended for Jimmy Smith, and Smith was covered. Walker and Robertson on the play, and he throws it out of the end zone. Jacksonville with 2 timeouts remaining.
That's just a smart play by Brunell. Just throw the football away. If you're going to try and throw it in there, just throw it away. You know, and it is interesting that down here you'd think that he would tuck it and run a little bit quicker than he does out in the field, but not on that play.
Second and goal from the 7. McCardell in motion. Brunell in the end zone. Mitchell stretches out, can't track it down. Ball slightly overthrown. And that'll bring up for this Jaguars team a 3rd and goal.
You see here, Mark Brunell throws the ball out over the top of Pete Mitchell. That would be going. How many times are they going to throw to Pete Mitchell before they try and cover him?
3rd down and goal from the 7. Brunell in the end zone, touchdown. This time he found McCardell, a 7-yard strike.
Great execution by the receivers for the Jaguars. McCardell on the inside runs up the field, pushes the defender, and then breaks to the corner of the end zone. Brunell knows he's going to get there, puts the ball out to where only he can catch it. Very difficult to defend when the receivers cross on their stems like they did. That's why Jacksonville is never out of a football game, and that's why that turnover, that interception by McNair is now so crucial.
And the extra point by Mike Hollis is good. First touchdown reception of the season for Keenan McCardell.
See him outside release on Eddie Robinson, then heads right for the corner. The defensive back was inside of him, and that's just good execution. They scouted that, knew exactly where the defender was going to be, called the proper play at the proper time.
(19-14), 21 seconds remaining in the second quarter of play. Oilers lead the Jaguars. Mark Brunell and the Jaguars, the beneficiaries of a Steve McNair interception inside their own 40-yard line, and they make them pay with the 7-yard strike. And Damon Jones gets up slowly and trots off the field. How does this hot weather affect those guys on the field? You've played in weather like this before.
Well, it's what it does more than anything else. It just sucks the energy right out of you. You feel like you're lethargic. It's hard to get excited about anything. It's different when it's cold. You always feel like you can get warm, but when it's hot, you can't cool down. There's just no way to do it. And you can see there by the thermometer, it's just hot. It feels hot. I mean, it's hot up here where we're at. We're in the shade, and I mean, it is just unbearable.
So Mike Hollis sends it away, and it's picked up by Mason at the 10. And Derek Mason returns it to the 34. 24-yard return. Brant Boyer with the special teams tackle. So Tennessee, McNair, who went out of the stadium into the locker room, came back. Now he trots back onto the field with 14 seconds remaining in the first half of play.
They have all 3 of their time, or actually they have 2 timeouts remaining. 14 seconds. I don't think they're going to have to. They're going to kneel down right here and just take the 5-point lead into the locker room at half.
And that's exactly what they do. So that is the end of the first half of play. Tom Coughlin trots in. Steve McNair and the Oilers, they should be very pleased with their performance, aside from that last last-minute interception. And that's the end of the first quarter. 19-14 the score. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report.
CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ halftime report is sponsored by the NASDAQ stock market.
And we welcome you back to New York. Jim Nantz with the NASDAQ halftime report. And how about that first half performance there as the Oilers lead here, Brent, 19-14.
You know, Tom Coughlin told the Jaguars earlier in the week if they win this week, he'd give them Friday off next week during the bye week. Looks like they could be working. And how about all week the Jacksonville defense talking about playing that Dare McNair style of defense. Stack the line, make him make plays downfield. He's stepped up. He's done that. Yancey Thigpen, 2 big touchdowns. You don't think Cordell Stewart misses Yancey Thigpen? Darn right he does.
It really shows today. Elsewhere in the NFL today, Denver playing at Washington with John Elway out. Elway came out for the pregame warm-ups about an hour before game time, tested that hamstring, decided to go back in and put on the street clothes. So Bubby Brister has been the signal caller, and he's done quite a job here. Marcus?
Yeah, great misdirection by the Broncos here. It's Ed McCaffrey in the corner of the end zone. This gets them off to an exciting start, but this is why they're good. Defensive pressure. You see Romanowski there, gets in his face. Darian Gordon picks it off, and he's on opposite down the go touchdown.
Darian Gordon. Broncos 0-7 without Elway as a starter in the 90s, but they lead by 10 at halftime. Kansas City at Philadelphia, and Rodney Peete directing the way for the Eagles offense. Took them on an opening drive that really pleased the Philadelphia cheesesteak heads, especially when Deuce Daly got just the 2nd touchdown of the season for the Eagles.
Well, the Philadelphia line there does a good job of just locking on to the Kansas City defensive players. And then the same thing happens, Kansas City's offensive line, where they do a pretty good job against Philadelphia when Donnell Bennett goes in to score.
7-7 Eagles have scored but 22 points in 14 quarters this year. Oakland at Dallas. Look at the Raiders. They have shut down the Cowboys to only 76 total yards in the first half. No spectacular plays so far today by Dion, and Jason Garrett's thrown for only 53 yards.
Jim, Eric Allen's been all over the field breaking up passes in the first half. The Raiders defense has got to be the story. People thought Dallas would move it on them. They haven't been able to do it. Darrell Russell getting right through here to Jason Garrett. Nobody even blocked the guy.
Emmitt Smith only 9 carries, 25 yards. Here's the big play, though, Brent.
Kevin Smith has James Jett blanketed down the field. Ball bounces off Smith's shoulder pad. James Jett, nobody's going to get him when he gets in the open field, not even Deion Sanders. They got a lot of momentum, the Raiders do, going into halftime.
And Napoleon Kaufman with 78 yards rushing in that first half. Green Bay has been stuffed twice on 4th and 1 situations, and Favre's been picked off twice, 1 run back for a touchdown. Saints, Danny Werfel, 7 yards passing in the first half, while Peyton Manning, 142 yards. Colts by a field goal. Cardinals with a 17-point second quarter explosion. And now the Rams have tacked on a field goal. It's a 7-point game at halftime there in St. Louis. When we come back, we'll have a preview of next week's big game in the AFC East. Miami at the Meadowlands to take on the Jets. We'll have that for you as we continue on CBS right after this.
CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ halftime report is sponsored by the NASDAQ stock market.
Welcome back to the CBS Broadcast Center in New York and the NASDAQ halftime report. Now, a reminder, we'll be back next Sunday at noon Eastern with another edition of the NFL Today, followed by regional NFL action. The game most of you will see at 1 Eastern, the Dolphins will be at the Meadowlands to face the Jets.
2 premier NFL coaches and their teams face off in a key early season battle in the AFC East. After 2 tough losses, the New York Jets rebounded last week with a blowout win over the Colts. They're hoping that momentum will carry over when they host the 3-0 Dolphins. Dan Marino is running a new-look Dolphin offense, combined with an aggressive young defense that shut out the previously unbeaten Steelers last Sunday. Both teams will come in next week promising a battle in the Meadowlands.
It's something special, and it's something, it's a game that obviously over the last couple of years we haven't had a lot of success with, so we want to change that.
You just look for a hard game. It's a division game, and it's up there. It's going to be loud. It's going to be tough. That's what you expect from the Jets.
And I think, with this rivalry thing happening now, I'm excited. I was telling one of the coaches I was hoping we didn't have this week off when we was playing Miami.
On the NFL Today, we were joined by the Jets Pro Bowl cornerback Aaron Glenn. Big assignment for him next week, and the Jets going against Dan Marino, who has feasted on the Jets during his career. Beat them both times last year, threw for almost 600 yards in the 2 wins, no interceptions. What about the Jets-Miami game?
Well, this is the must-win for the Jets. They have to play their best game, almost a perfect game against a top-notch defense. They'll be tested this week.
The biggest move for the Jets during this bye week, Bill Parcells stepping up and saying Glenn Foley's my man. Even though Vinny Testaverde threw for 4 touchdowns versus the Colts last week, there is no quarterback controversy in New York, at least this week.
Hey guys, this is Jimmy Johnson's 3rd year in Miami. He's put together his best team. They're running the ball well. They're ranked number 3 in defense. They're going to be tough to beat.
And if they beat the Jets, they'd have a 3-game edge on the Jets this early in the season. That would be huge. All right, the NFL on CBS will continue on CBS in just a moment.
Back at Vanderbilt Stadium, where Tennessee leads Jacksonville 19-14 as we prepare to begin the second half of play. Gus Johnson along with Steve Tasker. And Tennessee, they controlled the ball in the first half of play. Wasn't a good first half for Jacksonville, but they're only down by 5 points.
Mark Brunell struggled big time in the first quarter and a half, threw 2 interceptions and did not look good at all. But he did bounce back enough to get that last drive after the turnover that McNair threw. Kept them in enough to go in to the halftime with only a 5-point lead for the Oilers. So if they've got to feel good about that, because they played horrible in the first half offensively, except for that final touchdown.
2 interceptions by Brunell in the first half of play. And the statistics, look at the passing yards, total yards, and the time of possession.
And then before this game, we talked about one of those teams going to the Super Bowl, and by that statistic and that graphic, you'd be hard-pressed to say that was the Jacksonville guys that were hopeful of the Super Bowl contention. But they have been down in every single game they've played this year. They have trailed at some point in every game of this year. So it's not new territory for them. They are still a quality football team that feels they got a chance to win this game.
So Craig Hendrich ready to kick it away. And back deep, Reggie Barlow and Tavian Banks for the Jaguars. Here's Reggie Barlow, number 84. 4th round pick in '96 out of Alabama State, and Tavian Banks played at Iowa a season ago for Hayden Fry, a 4th round pick. So Hendrich sends it away. This one heading into the end zone again, unreturnable. What a big weapon Craig Hendrich is for the Tennessee squad.
And we talked to Tom Coughlin yesterday. And it's rare, you know, we talk about all kinds of players when we talk to these coaches and stuff, but they rarely bring up, the head coaches rarely bring up the punter for the opposing team. But he did just that because he's a weapon not only as a punter, but obviously as a kickoff guy. And it was a real concern for Coughlin, and for obvious reasons.
So Mark Brunell and the Jaguars start at their own 20-yard line. And for Brunell, since '95, he's led the Jaguars to 8 come-from-behind wins. He has a small deficit here, 5 points, less than a touchdown from the 20. Pete Mitchell in motion. Fred Taylor. And Taylor breaks it out at the 30 with the blocker. Fred Taylor, a foot race, can't get to the corner, and Taylor knocked out of bounds at the Tennessee 30 by Denard Walker.
We said from the very beginning of the telecast that this is a game of big plays on the offensive side of the football. You'll see here, this is an identical play to the play that Fred Taylor broke last week for a 52-yard touchdown in Baltimore. Once he gets out in the open, he's very difficult to bring down. He's not a little guy. He weighs well over 200 pounds, and that's why he's such a dangerous guy. Not only is he big and packs a punch, he can run it when he gets out in the open field.
Had that 52-yard touchdown run last week, the longest regular season run in team history. That one he just had was 49 yards. Brunell in trouble, out of the pocket. Mark Brunell, and he gets out of bounds at the 30. Darrell Lewis chasing it.
The defensive line of the Oilers pushing the offensive line and just really standing them up and making Mark Brunell have to move around in the pocket to see down the field. He moved out to his left finally and tucked the ball and ran, but not after wanting to throw the football and not being able to. That was good defensive play by the Oilers secondary and their defensive front.
Makes it 2nd down and 9 from the 30-yard line, out of the offset eye. Banks is the deep man. Here he is, Tavian Banks. Goes forward. Gary Walker with the tackle. Now the Jaguars for the past 3 weeks have had a 100-yard rusher all 3 weeks. James Stewart did it the first 2 weeks. Last week, Fred Taylor, 128 yards. On the other side, though, this Oilers team, they have not given up 100 yards to any runner this entire season, so something has to give.
And those 100-yard games for the Jacksonville Jaguars directly translated in their 3-0 record.
Right now, Taylor, 11 carries, 82 yards. 3rd down and 6 from the 27. Baselli moving on the left side, and they caught him.
False start. Offense, 71 prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
This is a direct result of the front 4 or front 7 of the Tennessee Oilers jumping around, getting into a front that the Jaguars had not seen before. You saw Quentin New Year pointing around. See, they're all pointing. They don't know exactly who's the guy that we're going to blitz, who's the guy I'm supposed to pick up. Nobody knew, and there's confusion, and that resulted in Baselli jumping off sides.
3rd down and 11 from the 32. Brunell, far side, and it's caught. Jimmy Smith, and Smith stayed in bounds. It gets to the 1.5.
What an effort by Jimmy Smith. He runs a deep route, comeback, and he gets hit as he catches the football on the sidelines. Knows he's got to keep his feet in bounds. Watch as he tight ropes it, gets up the sideline, stretching for the end zone. This whole series, and it just continues to happen. Big play after big play after big play.
So now, Jaguars 1st and goal to go from the 2. Fred Taylor, and Taylor trying to get in the end zone, and he's short.
Number 28, Fred Taylor in the carry.
Eddie Robinson pushing the pile backwards. And he'll have to do it again.
You've seen the Jaguars come out after halftime and throwing to their wide receivers, and it's something obviously they saw during the first half that they talked about at halftime and said, listen, we're going to get the ball outside. Pete Mitchell caught a number of balls in the first half in between the numbers. Now they're going to switch it up, and they saw something outside they're going to take advantage of, and they've done it here in the first drive of the second half.
2nd down, goal to go. Double tight ends. Fred Taylor, touchdown.
Number 28, Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor leans ahead, and he set up his own touchdown with a 49-yard scamper, and he keeps that football.
No, there's no great wizardry here. Guys, let's just snap the ball and push. Fred, you look for a crack and get into the end zone. Well, that's the easiest way to get a touchdown, really, just a dive play. You run that since you're in junior high, and all those guys have run that play 1,000 times. That's very difficult to stop for no gain.
Now the Jaguars are going for 2. Jimmy Smith lines up far to the wide side. McCardell in the slot. Reggie Barlow on the near side with Taylor in the backfield. Brunell runs it himself and gets in easily. But a flag on the play. And it's holding against the Jaguars.
In the National Football League, teams average 1 2-point play a year, and we've seen 2 in this single game. That's unusual.
Holding. Offense, 62, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the try. 1.
So instead of the 2-point conversion, Tom Coughlin sends on his kicker, and they'll just go for 1.
Penalties are always, you see there, Josh Evans was held by Ben Coleman there, just not letting him roll out of the block.
So Mike Hollis in to attempt the extra point, and somebody jumping again.
False start. Offense prior to the snap. 72. Wow. 5-yard penalty. 1 try.
Oh, this time it's Searcy.
What is I wonder what the NFL record is for the longest extra point. It's right now, it's a 35-yard attempt for 1 point.
So Mike Hollis,
they
9
have
of
struggled.
9 on extra points this season, and to attempt a 35-yarder. And it's good. It counts for 1. So with 11 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the third quarter, Jaguars lead it 21-19. 1-19, the Jaguars lead Tennessee. 11:42 to go in the third quarter. Gus Johnson along with Steve Tasker here at Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville. The Oilers are 1-2 and the Jaguars a perfect 3-0 on the season. They have a bye week next week. So a line drive kickoff, and this is Mike Archie, and Archie over the 35 up to the 37. And Brant Boyer with the special teams tackle. Steve McNair, he's done some good things, and also he has made some mistakes today.
Well, in the first half, they said they had wanted to go deep. They didn't get a chance to do that last week. So in the first quarter, Steve McNair drops back, throws a strike to Yancey Thigpen. First touchdown of the day, gets him out to a quick lead. Things are looking good. Going the other way in the second quarter. Hits Yancey again on a slant pattern, a great individual effort. Those are the kind of plays they wanted to make, but then when things go bad, they're very bad. He steps up in the pocket, throws a bad pass over the middle, right into the coverage. And that is what gave Jacksonville an opportunity to stay in this game.
From the 37 for McNair. McNair over the middle, and it's incomplete. Ball intended for Willie Davis, and it's thrown high. And Steve McNair, when he looks and sees what Mark Brunell has been able to do with his team, he says he really likes how Brunell is in sync with his receivers. He'd like to be that kind of quarterback, and there are the comparisons between the two today.
And you can see that McNair really had a lot of respect for what they were able to do offensively and how well Mark Brunell had control of his offense. And it just seems like they have an innate ability to communicate without speaking as far as quarterback and receivers go.
Second down and 10 from the 37-yard line. Eddie George with the football. George, and he is wrapped up. Brant Boyer came up and made the tackle, and the Oilers lose yards on the play. Log on to www.nfl.com and check out this week's player spotlight on Seahawks wide receiver Joey Galloway. Plus, get team-by-team matchups on NFL.com. So the Oilers faced with third down and 14 from their own 33. Chris Sanders wide to the far side, Thigpen, Mason, and Harris all on the near side. Here's McNair under pressure. McNair steps up, going for the long ball. Thigpen, jump ball, and it is almost intercepted by Chris Hudson. McNair had a lot of running room in front of him, but decided to go deep anyway.
Even though it was 3rd and 13, it really appeared that he probably could have broken contain and gone right up the middle of the hash marks and gotten the first down. But he wanted to throw the football down the field to Yancey Thigpen and let Yancey have a chance to make a play. You'll see here as he steps up and lets it go. And Yancey Thigpen turns into a defensive back, knocking away the interception. He's pretty good defensive form there, too, I might add.
So that brings in Craig Hendrich, his first punt of the day, standing at his own 18. High spiraling kick. Barlow back deep, lets it go into the end zone for a touchback. 10 minutes, 29 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Jaguars 21, Oilers 19.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Air, Jeep, and by Stanley.
The Parthenon here in Nashville, a city landmark, on a beautiful day, a replica of the famous monument in Athens, Greece. And the Jaguars at the 20-yard line now. They pitch it. This is Taylor going outside, and Taylor up to the 22-yard line, maybe the 23. Gary Walker with the hit. Terrorists invade Washington and take 2 JAG officers hostage. Now the world will be watching as the fate of America hangs in the balance on an all-new episode of JAG Tuesday, 8 p.m., 7 Central on CBS. Uh-oh. The lawyers got to go for it. 9:57 to go in the third quarter. 21-19. Jaguars lead the Oilers. Brunell out of the backfield to Taylor, and he is closed on quickly. Joe Bowden got to him first, and Joe Salavea was there to finish him off.
Joe Bowden covered a lot of ground in a big hurry. He saw that play late and knew that it was his responsibility to get out to Fred Taylor, and he got there in a big hurry. And that's one of the things Tom Coughlin noticed. These linebackers for this Tennessee team can really, really run, and they stopped that play that looked like it had a chance.
So a big 3rd down and 9 for the Oilers. Jacksonville with the ball at the 21. They want the football back. Tennessee does. McCardell in motion. Brunell flags on the play, over the middle, caught, lost. Jimmy Smith lost it, loose ball. And it is recovered by the Oilers, but there is a flag. Let's see. Preliminary shows, I believe, illegal motion.
Samari Rolle was the guy that knocked that ball out of Jimmy Smith's arms.
Illegal motion, offense number 87. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
You'll see Samari Rolle coming up behind Jimmy Smith. Just as he catches the football, both feet come down, bang, the ball comes out, and that is a huge momentum grabber for Tennessee. One more look as Mark Brunell throws this right down towards your television set, and Jimmy Smith catches it. Samari Rolle from behind, exactly the proper technique to cause that turnover, and then that is a running car wreck right there trying to get that football.
Lane Bishop doing a good job to hold on to the football. Now the Oilers from midfield. Play fake. Out of the backfield, Wycheck with running room down the sidelines, and Frank Wycheck gets to the 35. An 11-yard pickup for the big H-back.
It's a great call by Steve McNair, changing the play at the line of scrimmage and finding Wycheck out on the flat. That's a play that a quarterback sees once he gets his hands under the center. Then he'll change that play to a play that they've talked about during the week. When he sees it, it's his responsibility to recognize it, call it, and execute it, and he's done that on a number of occasions today, and they've all paid off.
Yancey Thigpen splits wide to the far side. Davis, the near side. McNair sets up over the middle, and it's caught. Almost intercepted. Brant Boyer had 2 hands on the ball, but Willie Davis cradles it inside the 20. Talking about a game of inches, that's a gain of 20.
Brant Boyer shaking his head. He ended up on his knees. You'll see him right in the middle of your screen, number 52. Watch him as it goes right through his hands as he turns around and has to watch Willie Davis get the reception for the big gain.
Brant Boyer, 5th year out of Arizona. Now the Oilers marching once again. 1st down and 10 from the Jaguars 19. Eddie George. And Eddie George wrapped up by Donovan Darius, the rookie out of Syracuse. And here's a young man that they feel has the potential to be one of the best in the NFL at that safety spot.
We spoke to Bryce Popp, another defender, yesterday, and he said, you know, I've heard these defensive backs come out of college and they're all supposed to change the game and raise the bar and all this. He goes, I'll believe it when I see it. He heard the same thing about Donovan Darius, and he said, well, you know, I kind of believe it now. The guy is really playing well for this team.
I think Tom Coughlin said about Darius, he is a tough guy. 2nd down and 8 from the 17. McNair looking, holding, caught by Davis, and Davis wrapped up quickly by Chris Hudson. So this very important territory for the Oilers. Down 21-19. They need 6 points instead of having to settle for only 3.
And this is the second series of the second half for them. They have not played well offensively in this half. They were 1-2-3 and out on their first series. Now they've begun to put it together, but they need to put this ball in the end zone.
3rd down and 5. Thigpen in motion. McNair batted at the line of scrimmage and almost intercepted. The ball batted at the line of scrimmage, and the Oilers bring on the field goal team. Looks like Hardy may have gotten a hand on it.
Watch number 51 just time it just perfectly. He watches McNair throw it and just really actually tries to catch it, is what they tell those guys. Forget batting it down. If you can get it, grab it. But the ball comes out of there so fast.
So Aldo Greco, who was perfect, 2 of 2 on the day, this a 32-yard field goal to take the lead. Chip shot for Del Greco, and he hit it. Now the 2-point conversion for Jacksonville may start to haunt him. 6:07 to go in the third, 22-21.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft and by Propecia.
Craig Hendrich sending it away. Reggie Barlow in the end zone, takes a knee once again. Jacksonville starts from the 20. And so far in this game, Mark Brunell has thrown 2 interceptions. They've also fumbled 1 time. And 3 turnovers for this Jacksonville team. They have not yielded any sacks, and the penalties 5 for 31 yards.
And 2 of those penalties were really costly. One penalty by Bryce Popp meant that the Oilers had an opportunity to go ahead and score a touchdown, and a holding call on Ben Coleman, the offensive lineman, meant that they did not get the 2-point conversion, which now looms large in the 1-point lead by the Oilers.
6:01 to go in the third. A lot of time. Brunell over the middle. McCardell with the catch at the 25-yard line. On the new CBS Monday, Raymond gives his dad a crash course in driving, so buckle up for an all-new episode of Monday night's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond, Monday, 9, 8 Central on CBS. Second down and 4 for the Jaguars from the 26 out of the offset eye. Here's the handoff, Taylor. And he gets to the maybe 23, gained about 3 feet, maybe a yard. Now, according to the Oilers, the thing about this Jacksonville offense that's so special is they really do good things on 1st and 2nd down, so they're never in bad 3rd down situations.
Exactly right. And Jeff Fisher told us they want to bring pressure on Brunell in non-obvious situations on 1st and 2nd down, to rush him and make him uncomfortable in the first early downs, to put them in tough situations on 3rd down.
3rd down and 4 from the 26. Changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Oilers showing blitz. Here it comes. Brunell all kinds of time looking for the first down. He doesn't get it. Joe Salavea, Joe Bowden with the tackle, and the Jaguars turn it over on downs. Listen to this crowd.
He stepped up into the pocket, Brunell here, number 8, and he just has nowhere to go. Tries to get it at the very end of the play, but couldn't get enough for the first down. They closed the pocket on him.
Mason at the 12, and he gets up to the 18-yard line. Will Moore with the special teams tackle. 4:01 to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Oilers, Jaguars, 22-21. 4:01 to go in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee holding on to a 22-21 lead over Jacksonville. Gus Johnson and Steve Tasker with you from Vanderbilt Stadium here in Nashville, Tennessee. Final year that this Oilers team will play in this college stadium, home to the Commodores. They have their new stadium being built currently in downtown Nashville, and it'll be ready for the beginning of the 1999 season. 67,000 seats. 1st and 10 from the 19 for the Oilers. Play action, McNair in trouble, and he is swarmed. Steve McNair tackled by number 95, Bryce Popp.
Joel Smengi down on the play. And that's something that the Jaguars do not need, is one more guy staying on the ground longer than he's supposed to. They have really battled injuries thus far in the season and have really overcome them quite well. Play action fake here as McNair rolls out to his right and is stopped. And that's Smingy right there swinging around.
Smingy and Pop combining on the play.
This is right here, and this is where he got hurt, and it's hard to see where he looks like Stepnoski fell on him. It's difficult to see.
Rice Pop, who had 9.5 sacks last year.
Watch 53 White right there, falls on him at the end of the play. Doesn't look that serious, but he is up on his feet walking off and seems to be nursing his right arm.
6'6", 275 out of Western Michigan. Other scores, Denver completely dominating Washington. And Philadelphia leading Kansas City in the third quarter of play. That is a shocker right now. And Oakland leading Dallas on the road. I went to the Monday night game. The Giants and the Cowboys, just as a fan, and that Deion Sanders is something else. Look at Green Bay.
Carolina's come back to tie Green Bay up. Indianapolis may get into the win column.
Loss of 8 on the last play. 2nd down and 18 from the 11. McNair. And it's knocked away. Chris Hudson. Dangerous pass by Steve McNair. Let's go to New York. Jim Nantz.
Well, Gus, Bubby Brister having a fine day filling in for John Elway, throwing another touchdown pass, this time to Howard Griffith, as the Broncos are routing the winless Redskins in Washington. Back to you down in Nashville.
All right, Jim, things are getting uglier and uglier for Norv Turner.
If I'm Bubby Brister, I'm sure glad they gave me the Ferrari to drive. And so if I'm going to borrow a car to drive like an offense, I want to drive the Ferrari. And right now he is behind the wheel.
3rd down and 18 for Tennessee from the 11. And McNair throwing it downfield, and it's intercepted. McNair throws the interception, and this play has been blown dead. After the interception, but a curious toss by McNair. He just heaved the ball down the field into double coverage.
You get the idea that he wanted to go deep so much today that he's starting to force the ball down. He has a lot of faith in Yancey Thigpen throwing it up.
Player was ruled down by contact. 1st down, Jacksonville.
But watch as he goes down. That going down like that is attributed to the contact with Yancey Thigpen. That's why the play was blown dead right where it was. But Steve McNair throwing that football up for grabs, that's something you don't like to see. Maybe one-on-one coverage, but there are 2 guys there, and when you throw a ball with that high of an arc, it gives the defensive backs a lot of time to cover ground, and by the time it comes down, there's more guys there than there was when you threw it.
So once again, the Jaguars with the short field. 1st down and 10 at the Tennessee 48. Pete Mitchell in motion. Here's Taylor slicing through the defense, and he gets to the 42. Eddie Robinson with the tackle.
That's the kind of 1st down run that Jacksonville loves to have. Now it's 2nd, and really 2nd and a long 3. And if you're Tennessee, those are the kind of plays you want to keep them out of. You want to stuff the run on 1st and 2nd down. Those are the situations where they wanted to bring some pressure to bear on Mark Brunell in the run game.
93 yards rushing for Taylor. 2nd down and 4. Here's Taylor again, and he gets the 1st down. But that's what the maturity factor is about for Steve McNair. This is his 4th year in the NFL, only 2nd year as a starter. Your team is up by 1 point, and basically you're dropping back in your own end zone. You can't turn the ball over in that territory.
It really seems as though he's still trying to get away with some things that he may have gotten away with in college, throwing the ball up, letting his guys go. He's got, at worst, they're going to punt the football out of their own end. They're going to get a chance to get better field position. And you can make the argument that long pass amounts to a net punt on 4th down. But still, if I'm Steve McNair, I want to pull that ball down and run and make something happen. You've got to give your guys around a chance to get the ball into their hand. Don't make them fight for a reception with 2 guys hanging all over them.
Measurement on the field. And they are short of the 1st down. 3rd down and less than a yard.
way less than a yard.
In the rushing yards, the Jaguars 114-38. Eddie George has been completely taken out of this one. And when you're taking on a team like Jacksonville, one of the best in the NFL, you cannot give them too many opportunities, especially with this offense. And third down conversions on the season, 43% for the Jaguars. Brunell straight ahead, and he falls forward. He should get the first down.
You see so many teams run a quarterback sneak in that situation, and some teams refuse to do that. We've seen so many things happen on quarterback sneaks even this year, where they'll be forced to fumble and it goes back the other way, or the quarterback will be hurt. All kinds of things happen. It's the most innocuous looking play, but yet you get all those big bodies in there pushing so hard, something sometimes gets put in the wrong position, and something's got to give.
First down from the Tennessee 37 for Jacksonville. Brunell passing on first down, and he dumps it. Closest man to the football, Damian Shelton, and there is a flag on the play. And holding is the call against the Jaguars.
Yancey Thigpen standing over there catching that ball. He's catching everything today, even from Mark Brunell. He has played well against this Jacksonville franchise.
Holding. Offense, number 72, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
It's Leon Searcy, the right tackle, called for holding.
At the bottom of the screen, you'll see Leon Searcy, number 72, working against Pratt Lyons. You see there, you just grabbed him, pulled him to the ground. That is a penalty. Its tackles are very easy to catch in holding because they're out in space, and Tom Coughlin is furious.
Makes it first down and 20 from the 47. Brunell rolls out of the pocket, fires downfield, and it is incomplete. Incomplete. Jimmy Smith and Darrell Lewis were battling for the football.
They were out there all by themselves. Brunell bought all kinds of time. Jimmy Smith had all kinds of time to work at it, and you'll see here they both go for the football. Jimmy Smith almost stole that football from an interception on Darrell Lewis. Wow. That's two players making a great effort on a football play, and that was incomplete. You can see there as the ball rolls along underneath Jimmy Smith. Tried to sell the catch, but he's not going to happen.
Second down and 20. Brunell fires. McCardell with the catch at the 40-yard line. He gets to the 39 before being chopped down. Darrell Lewis again on the tackle.
Now you see the results of that holding penalty on first down. On first down, you get a holding penalty. You have 3 tries to overcome it, which really gives you a better chance of doing it. But now, you know, still third and about 12 or 13. They couldn't get enough of it back. On second and 20, maybe get half of it back, and they almost did. So that penalties have been killing them.
They need to get to the 27 for a first down. Ball spotted at the 40. Brunell out of the pocket, bottled up and goes down. Eddie Robinson. And he has made some big plays on defense today.
Eddie Robinson, his responsibility is just what they call spy. Wherever Mark Brunell goes, I'm just going to watch him. I'm going to say, you're not going to go this way. Now it's his turn. When he pops out, Eddie Robinson has to go up and make the tackle, and that's a perfect example of what it is to spy a quarterback.
Barker standing at the 44, end over end kick, and it gets into the end zone for a touchback. Alvis Whitted was right there, but he couldn't down it inside the 5. A 41-yard punt. Now next Saturday at 3 Eastern on CBS Sports, it's a hotbed of SEC action. You'll see T. Martin and the Tennessee Vols versus Auburn. It all starts with college football today, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Tennessee ranked 4th in the nation. And right now in Tennessee, the Jaguars and the Oilers, a 1-point game as McNair and the offense take over once again at the 20, and hopefully he has learned from his last interception, which had the potential for being very, very bad for this Oilers squad.
I'm sure the coaching staff got in his ear and said, listen, calm down, just stick with your game plan. You can do this, just don't try and do too much.
McNair on play action, flags on the play. McNair dumps it, and it's incomplete, but there is a flag.
Offside. Defense, number 93 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
He's
first down.
The referee,
Jose White,
and the referee pointing to the offense as he pointed to the defense. Watch here as you'll see him try and get back he'll twitch, get off. Oop, he's got caught, and the ball is snapped while he's in the neutral zone. If the ball would have been held for another half count, he would have gotten back, and it wouldn't have been a penalty.
Is it the center's job to snap that ball when he sees somebody jumping off?
Sometimes they'll try and do that if it's a critical 3rd and short situation, but you never know if your quarterback is ready for it. You may fumble that exchange if the quarterback isn't ready for that.
Remember, veteran Mark Stepnoski playing his first game at center today for the Oilers. 1st and 5. McNair throwing, and he is chopped down in the backfield. Steve McNair tackled by Kelvin Pritchett.
Kelvin Pritchett working against Jason Lehman, gives him the pull move, rips up through his shoulder, and you see just grabs the foot of McNair, and that really, you've seen Steve McNair shrug off so many big hits, shake off arm tackles and stuff, and it's amazing to see the guy bump his foot and put him down on the ground in the pocket.
Lost 6 yards on the play.
This is the conclusion of the 3rd quarter.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Oilers lead at 22-21. We'll return to Vanderbilt Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. So we begin the 4th quarter of play with the Oilers leading the Jaguars by 1. Over 34,000 fans in attendance. Capacity 40,000 plus here in Nashville at Vanderbilt Stadium. So the Oilers with the football. 2nd down and 11 from their own 19. And a whistle.
Delay. Offense, 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
So right now the Oilers a little disorganized. A delay of game penalty at the start of a quarter, the 4th quarter.
They just lost concentration.
Yeah.
They just didn't keep an eye on the play clock. That's bad football here in a game this close.
So now it's 2nd down at 16. Flag on the play. Free play for the Oilers. McNair down the field, and it's incomplete as Aaron Beasley almost picked it off. But somebody on the right side of the line for Jacksonville jumping off sides.
Offside. Defense, number 99 in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Now let's check in with Jim Nance in New York. Looks like Big Mac has done it again.
Yes, sir. From Steve McNair to Mark McGuire. And here he is, number 69, off Mike Thurman. Will Thurman be the answer to the trivia question? Who gave up the 69th home run? Will that be the last one for McGuire? Number 69 out in St. Louis. And let's go back now to Nashville.
What a season it's been in Major League Baseball. McGuire, Sosa, Cal Ripken ending the streak. Wow, it's been one to remember. Meanwhile, this is Rodney Thomas running the football, gets to the 21-yard line. Are you surprised at all, Steve, with the Oilers and how they have all but abandoned their running game? Eddie George, 14 carries, only 25 yards. And on this possession early, they had a 1st down and 5 and decided to go play action.
It seems that they've really gone almost the other end of the spectrum from where they were a week ago. They handed the ball off, really stuck with the run game through thick and thin last week, and now they wanted to throw deep this week. Now they've abandoned the run game to do that. They need to find a happy medium and get some balance in that offense.
3rd down and 9. 3-receiver package. McNair into the flats, and it's incomplete. Intended for Kevin Dyson, their #1 pick for the Oilers. Dyson, 16th overall out of Utah, and it's incomplete. So Steve McNair has missed his last 4 passes, and with 14 minutes and 10 seconds to go, Jacksonville ready to get it back.
The defenses have really stepped it up for both teams. They've managed to make, well, both teams have traded punts here. They didn't punt, I don't think, in the first half, either team. So they've really begun to tighten the screws defensively.
Hendricks, this one off the side of his foot. And Barlow with the fair catch signal at the 37. Make it the 36. But a flag on the play. And a busy day with the penalties today, and they're going to bring it back and kick it again.
Got to be a hold on the punting team before the ball was kicked.
Holding. Offense number 25. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 4th down.
Steve, you've played special teams a couple of times in your life,
You're surprised
right?
that I kind of knew what that penalty was going to be, huh?
You've probably done that before.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there.
7-time Pro Bowler on special teams.
And I told you this before. If I ever had to cover 2 punts in a row, I had a standing rule. My punter was instructed to kick the ball out of bounds. I was not going to cover 2 punts in a row. It's too difficult to do that. You're running down 40 yards downfield on a, what is it, about 160 degrees now on the turf down there. You got to run another 60-yard sprint with 2 guys hanging on you. That's no fun.
So Hendricks, his last punt, 67 yards. He's close to 5 yards in his own end zone.
This is where a team will give up a big return because they're so tired from covering 1 punt.
Hendricks, wobbly kick. Reggie Barlow at the 42. Barlow trying to get outside and does. And Reggie Barlow goes out of bounds at his own 48-yard line. 46-yard punt, 5-yard return. 13:53 to go, a 1-point game. 13:53 to go in the 4th quarter. Oilers holding on to a 1-point lead. Gus Johnson along with Steve Tasker. And for Jacksonville, they've made a number of mistakes today, but usually this is where they're at their best.
Well, they battle the whole game because they have faith that if they're close at the end, they've got the people that can make the big play to pull it out for them at the end.
1st down from the 48-yard line from Brunell and company. Throwing off 1st down, and he is taken down in the backfield. Mark Brunell sacked by Pratt Lyons. That's the 2nd sack of the day for the Oilers.
Working against Leon Searcy, one of the best right tackles in football, and Jeff Fisher had told us he didn't want to concede defeat to these 2 great tackles that the Jacksonville Jaguars put on the field. He wanted his guys to battle them and think that they could get there if they just hung tough, and in that case, Pratt Lyons proved him correct.
So a loss of 5 on the play. 2nd down, 15 from the 43. Brunell out of the gun. Brunell under pressure, and it's caught. Deflected and caught at the 40-yard line by Mike McCardell. Wow, Eddie Robinson, just like Brant Boyer on the other side, missed the football.
Both quarterbacks have been very, very fortunate today. They've gotten passes thrown down the field the defenders have leapt at and just not been able to pull in. The interceptions we've seen today could have been almost doubled. Watch Robinson leap up and extend, just can't pull that ball in. He actually got a piece of it, and it was amazing that it was able to be caught after it had been wobbled.
And Fred Taylor, great concentration, though, by Keenan McCardell to haul that ball in after being deflected.
That's so difficult to do as a wide receiver. When you jump up, you concentrate so much on the football. When it changes its path or flight pattern on its way to you, very, very difficult to keep concentration and to adjust for that.
Injured player on the field. That reminds you of when you're a catcher in Major League Baseball or in baseball and
trying to catch a foul tip,
trying to hold on to a foul ball.
That's exactly right.
With 2 strikes. So an injured Oiler.
Jeff Fisher tending to him as well as the training staff.
And we do not know who the player is just yet. 12 minutes and 27 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. And Tennessee leads Jacksonville 22-21.
Training staff working on his left ankle, working the toe back and forth.
We believe it's Lonnie Martz, number 51.
You suspect cramps when they do that, as you see him as they work that. See how they work that ankle. He may have twisted his ankle, or yeah, I think it's fairly obvious what they think's wrong with him. That's something to do with his lower leg.
So Lonnie Martz, first 7 seasons he spent with Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Now, what's worse than going on a diet? Well, going on a diet with your wife. See the new hit comedy that critics and audiences are raving about, The King of Queens. Monday at 8:30, 7:30 Central, right after Cosby here on CBS. And Lonnie Martz gets to his feet and heads out of bounds. Missed 2 games last year with a hamstring injury. Looks like he's okay. And how about this, folks? Steve McNair has a hip pointer. He is out for the rest of the game and will be replaced by David Craig. 12:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Brunell and the Jaguars down by a point at the Tennessee 37. Brunell lofting it for his tight end, and it's broken up. Eddie Robinson again, intended for Damon Jones, who had a step, and he has been almost on every play.
This is his series. He almost had the interception early on, and now covering Damon Jones, breaking up a pass. One-on-one coverage with the tight end. Great defensive play. Very careful not to touch him, holding his arms out. Great play. That's exactly what he needed to do.
So, 3rd down and 8. From the 37, Jacksonville 5 of 9 on 3rd down conversions. And a whistle.
The Oilers only had 10 men on the field defensively. They had to call a quick timeout.
Timeout. Tennessee, their first timeout.
Timeout Tennessee, 12:05 to go. They lead by 1.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Coors Light, Staples, and by Honda.
(22-21). Tennessee leads Jacksonville. 12:05 to go. Steve McNair, shoulder pads off. He's got a hip pointer. He will not return. So the veteran, Dave Craig, will replace him when the Oilers get the ball next. But right now, for Jacksonville, 3rd and 8 from their own, from the Tennessee 37. Brunell, and it's dropped. Flag on the play, though. Flag on the play, and it's against Tennessee.
Illegal contact. He had him around the waist at the end.
Illegal contact. Defense, 5 yards. Automatic first down. Number 25.
Denard Walker, second-year man out of LSU. Costly penalty.
Watch Denard Walker coming out against Reggie Barlow on this play. At the top of the route, when Barlow plans to turn around, watch Denard Walker gets him. He's got him right there on the hip and pulls him back to keep himself. That's classic pass interference. Every day in practice, DBs do that, and they never get called in practice.
So the drive stays alive for Jacksonville from the Tennessee 32. Taylor, and he goes down. Josh Evans with the bear hug. No gain on the play for Jacksonville.
Great play inside by Josh Evans. Jeff Fisher told us that his inside guys, Josh Evans and Gary Walker, usually play extremely well against the Jacksonville franchise. They've had great games against them in this series. Josh Evans shedding the block and getting that play in the backfield for no gain. Great play by defensive tackle coming from the offside.
2nd down and 10. Brunell again, near side. McCardell with the catch, breaks it back at the 10-yard line, and McCardell gets close to the 5.
Standing by himself on the sidelines. They ran a switch. The receivers crossed, and the defensive backs didn't account for that and left one of the receivers uncovered.
So now it's 1st down. Goal to go from the 6. Jacksonville trailing 22-21. Draw play. Taylor, and he gets to the 5. A 1-yard pickup. And Eddie Robinson in on the play again.
Eddie Robinson is having a great second half of this football game. He's absolutely everywhere in the run game and the passing game. And that's the kind of plays that the Oilers would love their players to make. Eddie Robinson, they feel like they've got the talent. They feel like they've got the guys. They've been in every football game. They just haven't had guys step up and make plays to win football games for them.
2nd down, goal to go from the 6. Brunell looking in the end zone, broken up. Broken up at the last moment by Joe Bowden, the middle linebacker. Intended for Pete Mitchell, the tight end.
Watch the right side of your screen here. Joe Bowden will have the tight end as he comes off the line. Pete Mitchell, who's caught a lot of footballs today. Joe Bowden reaching in with the off arm to make sure that he doesn't draw the penalty. That's good coverage in the end zone. You see both these teams very good in the red zone defensively.
Now a big 3rd down play. 3rd down, goal to go from the 6. Oilers need to keep him out of the end zone. Brunell on the slant, Jimmy Smith, and I believe he's short. And he is. He's at the 1-foot line. So the question is, do they go for it? Leading 22-21, the Oilers with a good defensive stop there.
They're going to talk about it right now, but you'll see Brunell. There's the throwing lane, throwing right through Jimmy Smith, coming in, and Blaine Bishop denying him access to the end zone.
So they've called a timeout to talk things over. 9 minutes, 49 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Mike Hollis in to attempt an 18-yard field goal. And it's good. So the Jaguars, with 9 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter, they have taken the lead 24-22. Back to Nashville after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fidelity Investments and by Castrol Syntec.
Mike Hollis kicking off for Jacksonville. And this kick, Rodney Thomas 1 yard in his own end zone. Rodney Thomas falls down at the 10-yard line. He gets up to the 12. A 12-yard return. So onto the field trots the veteran, David Craig, in his 19th year in the National Football League. 12 years he spent as the starting quarterback in Seattle, and look at his career numbers and where he ranks. He's in the NFL history books. Steve McNair on the sidelines with the hip pointer. He will not return.
To say that Dave Craig is an experienced backup is quite the understatement.
Signed with Tennessee last year. 1st down and 10 from the 13. And he fumbles the snap. Picked up by Eddie George. And George dodged a major bullet. Maybe some jitters by the 19-year veteran.
This is what happens when you switch quarterbacks, veteran or not. You just haven't practiced enough with the center. Stepnoski just got back in the lineup after being gone for 4 weeks. Dave Craig is the backup, so you got two guys that are really not used to working with each other, trying to take a snap in late here in the football game, and that stuff happens. But Eddie George very quickly, very nicely picked that up and took it into the hole.
2nd down and 12 now. And he fumbles the snap again. Craig lets it go, and it's almost intercepted.
Not a very good start for Dave Craig here early on.
Remember, Craig has the 2nd most lost fumbles in NFL history.
That is a play Aaron Beasley wishes he had back.
Now look at Steve McNair. He is squirming on the bench, wanting to be in the football game. 3rd down and 12 from the 11. Craig out of the shotgun. Handles the snap this time. Steps up, and it's incomplete. Intended for Mason. No flags on the play. The crowd wanted a pass interference call, but Travis Davis is there to dislodge the football.
You watch the end of the play here, just sticking his hand in. Donovan Darius just getting enough of the football to cause it to be dropped, and even if it would have been caught, I think he was short of the 1st down anyway, but now they punt it away. The field goal now, the decision for the field goal now looks pretty good by Coughlin. They get the football back after not getting threatened with points.
So Hendrich, 3rd punt. Wobbly kick, that's short. Barlow from the 48, gets outside. Flag on the play. Barlow out of bounds at the 25-yard line, but this one may be coming back. I believe it was Damian Shelton with the clipping penalty.
Illegal block during the return, number 31. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
So Damian Shelton with the clip.
Watch right around the 40-yard line. Comes in and pushes. Baron Wortham gets pushed in the back so many times. Those penalties, that negates a great return by Reggie Barlow. And now they end up back in their own territory when they actually had it inside the 40 or 35-yard line of the Oilers. Special teams penalties are the worst type of penalties because field position, so much field position is exchanged that it really puts your offense either in a hole or in a great spot.
So the Jaguars at their own 43. Taylor in the backfield. Mitchell in motion. Taylor hops through the hole, and he gets inside Tennessee territory. Dave Craig and Mark Stepnowski
had their problems on that first series with the exchange. Dave Craig seemed to cringe when he got that snap from Stepnowski. I wonder if one of his hands has been bothering or something, but they've got to get that down.
Fred Taylor is getting close to that 100-yard mark. From what we understand, he is over it. He has 106 yards. Bounces it outside and is tripped up in the backfield. Blaine Bishop. Check that Tavian Banks running the football.
Once again, Tom Coughlin told us they've got to account for the safeties in the run game. Blaine Bishop just runs up. Nobody's there to block him. He comes up. There's just no one to account for his presence. So he's able to get into the backfield and tackle Tavian Banks for no gain.
So a 3-receiver setup for the Jaguars. 3rd down 3 from midfield. Brunell throwing, caught by Mitchell, breaks the tackle, gets the 1st down, and to the 42. 8-yard gain for Pete Mitchell, and he has always been open when Mark Brunell is needed the most.
It's difficult to sack a quarterback when he throws the football on time. That ball's out of there. They had a free man coming right in Brunell's face, but if he drops back, sets his foot and throws the ball on time, they'll never get there. that is the entire key for keeping a quarterback from getting sacked. If he can get rid of the ball and has a place to throw it on time.
4 receptions, 35 yards for Mitchell. Now Fred Taylor back in the game, and he gets inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Samari Roll with first contact. Fred Taylor, he is the 4th back. Well, they have rushed for 100 yards. One back rather has run for at least 100 yards in 4 straight games for this Jaguars team.
Up until this season, they had 300-yard games in their entire history. Now this year, due to the emphasis on it, they've really begun to make some progress in that area, and that has really helped them be the good team that they are.
2nd down and 7. Blitz picked up nicely by Jacksonville, and Brunell gets rid of it. No flags on the play. They wanted intentional grounding.
Quarterback's out of the pocket.
To throw that football away, Mark Brunell threw this football away out to his right. To do that legally, he has to be outside the tackle or outside the hash mark there to his right. That's not a very good call. He dropped almost straight back and threw that ball out of bounds. There was no call, and there should have been. He did that to avoid the sack. That is a bad missed call.
And Tom Coughlin calls timeout on 3rd down and 7. The play clock had run down, so they were almost in trouble.
You can tell the heat's really sapping the energy out of these two teams. They're having trouble getting back, getting their plays called, making sure that they get the play off in plenty of time on the play clock, and they're just dragging. That's all.
Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, it's the story that made headlines across the nation. David Chase chose not to help a 7-year-old girl he knew was in harm's way and who was eventually murdered. In his first television interview, Cash tells Ed Bradley he wouldn't do anything differently if given the chance. Tonight on 60 Minutes, followed by Touched by an Angel and the CBS Sunday movie Forever Love. It's getting even warmer on that Oilers sideline with 5 minutes and 54 seconds to go. Look at the heat. Over 120 degrees on the field.
Gus, it's so hot here. I can't believe it. It's so hot. It's taking its toll too on these players. You can start to see players just go moving slower and slower.
3rd down and 7 from the 39. Brunell in trouble, breaks the tackle. Mark Brunell, and he dives forward for the 1st down at the 30. Eddie Robinson had a hand on him, but couldn't bring down the 6'1", 211-pound Brunell. But there is a flag.
Hold it.
It may be a question of whether Brunell was in the pocket or not. As soon as he breaks contain and begins to run, those guys downfield become blockers. We'll see what they say. There are obviously some other questions. They're talking things over.
Defense, number 24. 5 yards, 1st down.
That's all there is to it.
Steve Jackson, 2nd penalty of the game for him.
Watch Mark Brunell come out of the pocket here. Just as missed by Terry Killens. Then he has to outrun our friend Eddie Robinson, who's been all over the field. And guess what an effort. Watch Robinson trying to make this play. Brunell stiff-arming him. That's quite a play for a quarterback. You don't see too many quarterbacks with the skill of a stiff arm. I don't think they teach that in quarterback school, I'm telling you.
1st down from the 25 now for the Jaguars. Taylor breaks the tackle, keeps his feet going, and Fred Taylor gets to the 17. Marcus Robertson, the safety, with the tackle. Clock continues to run. 5:07. And the Oilers are really in need of a defensive stand or a turnover. 4 minutes, 53 seconds to go. Timeouts remaining. Tennessee with only 1, Jacksonville with 2. 2nd down and short from the 17. Here they come. And in the backfield, Taylor is tripped up this time. And he'll be lucky to gain a yard.
Very methodical drive here by Jacksonville. Nothing risky. They really have a lot of confidence now in their run game. In years past, you wouldn't see this from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mark Brunell would still have to drop back and be throwing the football around. But now with this new emphasis and the newfound running game that they have this year, they are able to take this game and run time off the clock and still keep control of the football.
Fred Taylor limps off the field with 117 yards on 24 carries. Here's the drive for the Jaguars. Third down and short from the 17. McCardell in motion. Play action. McCardell with the catch. And Keenan McCardell with the first down.
The important thing you have to remember about this drive, it's only been 6 plays and it's covered 35 yards or so, but it's taken almost 5 minutes off the clock, and Tennessee is really going to be hard pressed to move all the way down the football field in the time that's remaining with only 1 timeout. Dave Craig has got to come out and produce when they get the football back.
Another first down for Jacksonville. 3:19 and counting from the Tennessee 13. Tavian Banks following his blocks, and Banks got a yard. Josh Evans again in on the play, the 4th-year man out of Alabama Birmingham.
Just pounding the ball away inside. This is the kind of running game that teams would love to have in the NFL, with just hand it to the same guy, let him do it. Tavian Banks has really complimented Fred Taylor well, and they're in a good spot because they have 2 young backs, both of whom would love to prove themselves. Neither one is the guy that has been the go-to guy in the past, so now they can pick the guy, let one of them emerge as the guy, and if it stays the same way it is, that's fine.
2nd down and 9 from the 12. Banks again, and Banks inside the 10, flag on the play. Robertson with the tackle, and it's a holding penalty against Jacksonville.
Tom Coughlin just deflated by the penalties that have killed him today. That is the one thing. That's the one thing that a coach feels he just can't control. Once the game starts, you got to let your guys play, and the penalties are the one intangible.
Number 31, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
That's Shelton, the fullback, 2nd year out of Sacramento State. 10th penalty for 71 yards against the Jaguars.
Watch number 31 just move right into the line of scrimmage. He'll take on Lonnie March there, and as he gets thrown off, he hangs on to March's shoulder pad and doesn't let him get his arm out to tackle Tavian Banks, and that's where the penalty comes in.
2:23 remaining in the 4th quarter. Now Jacksonville faced with a 2nd down and 19 from the 23. Shelton is the up back. Here comes the blitz, and they got to him. Blaine Bishop came hard off the corner, got a hand on Fred Taylor, and a timeout called by Tennessee. A 30-second timeout, so Blaine Bishop came charging hard. Now next Sunday, beginning at noon Eastern, the NFL on CBS features regional games. Many of you will see an AFC East shootout between Dan Marino's Dolphins and the high-octane offense of the New York Jets. In some areas, it'll be Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots against the Saints. Check your local listings. It all begins with Jim Nantz, Brent Jones, George Seifert, and Marcus Allen on the NFL Today. And Steve McNair on the Oilers bench. He is handcuffed with the hip pointer. Will not be able to return.
You really never want to come out of a game that you really feel you could have played better in. That's really a time when you don't want to get injured. You never want to get injured, never want to come out of a football game, but it's especially demoralizing when you know your team still has a chance to win it and you can't get in.
So the Jaguars now, 3rd down, 21 yards to go from the 24. Handoff, Tavian Banks. And Banks chopped down at the 20. Denard Walker stepped up and made the play on the elusive Banks. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. Jaguars holding on to a 2-point lead. Jacksonville leading at 24-22. 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Mike Hollis in to attempt a field goal. He is 2 of 5 on the season and has struggled this year. And here's a man, Steve, that led the NFL in scoring last year, was a Pro Bowler, but has gotten off to a bad start.
Tom Coughlin told us he was very forthright about it. He says, listen, we have struggled. We've got to do better in our kicking and our placements because it's going to get down to the point later in the season. It may cost this team if Mike Hollis can't get on track.
36-yard attempt. And it's good. Big field goal for Hollis. Now the Oilers need a touchdown to win this game.
The snap on this placement was perfect, and this is really something when Mike Hollis stepped up there. You know, the Jaguars are holding their breath at this point in this season. And watch the snap and the hold. The laces are perfect. This ball goes right down the pipe. It is an absolute. Watch the reaction of both coaches. Jeff Fisher knows that he's out of timeouts and he's running out of time.
Now Dave Craig comes back into the game for Tennessee. He's the backup quarterback, a 19-year veteran in this league, but he's got a big job in front of him to march him down and into the end zone.
Well, one thing you have to know too is that when people talk about this Oiler team, the first thing they always say is they are a talented bunch. Well, that talent is still there for Dave Craig to use. If he can get out there, now that he's got one series under his belt, they weren't very good when he first took the team over here in the second half. He struggled, but now, you know, Dave Craig has got to make this team use all the weapons he can. They don't have much time. They have no timeouts. There's no worse job. There's no worse position that a backup quarterback could be put into. But there's no quarterback in the league that has more experience.
So back deep, Mike Archie and Rodney Thomas for Tennessee. They need a good run back for the Oilers. Hollis kicks it away. This one angled to the corner of the end zone, and it trickles out. A touchback. Dave Craig and the Tennessee Oilers start from the 20-yard line. They need to go 80 yards for a score. Steve McNair can only sit and watch. So here comes Craig. This season, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He's thrown for 129 yards. First down and 10 from his own 20. Willie Davis splits to the far side. Thick pin. Mason to the near side. Mason's in the slot. Here's Craig throwing in trouble, and Hardy got him. Kevin Hardy tackles him at the 5-yard line as the pocket just collapsed.
Dave Craig had no chance. Just as he got to the back and set his foot, he stepped up, tried to throw it. Kevin Hardy was right in his face.
Clock still running, and now we get some movement up front for the Oilers.
False start. Offense prior to the snap, 72. Penalized half the distance, still second goal.
Brad Hopkins.
Here's the sack. Watch 51, Kevin Hardy, come from the right of your screen. Nobody picks him up. He's just an extra guy. Dave Craig can't step into the throw, sees him, just wants to protect the football and make sure he gets another crack at it.
Second down and 26. Craig again throwing far side, caught by Thigpen and out of bounds at the 15, making the 14. Gain of 9 for Yancey Thigpen, who has been quiet in the second half. One minute, 37 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville leading the Oilers 27-22. Dave Craig has come into the game replacing Steve McNair, who went out in the third quarter with a hip pointer. Was forced onto the sidelines. Now the 19-year veteran has a big job in front of him. Craig lost it from behind. Loose ball. And that may be it. Was his arm coming forward? I do not believe it was.
Fumble recovered by Jacksonville. First down.
That's your ball game. Dave Craig, second in NFL history in fumbles lost. Was the arm going forward?
Watch as he brings it back just as he's about ready to step up and throw. No, that was a good call by the official. Just as he was bringing the ball up high to bring it over the top to throw, the ball, he bumped into Joel Smingy, and that's what caused the ball to come loose. And Ronaldo win. The Oilers cannot stop the clock. They're out of timeouts with 1:29 to go. That should be the ball game.
Steve McNair, 2 interceptions he threw today, and Jeff Fisher really felt that his team had a great opportunity to win against an undefeated Jacksonville squad.
He also said that this club, going into the bye week, if they did not play well today, or if things did not go their way, he was going to make some lineup changes in this team, and we will have to wait and see the results of that statement.
.106 and counting remaining in the fourth quarter. Jaguars on their way to win number 4 as they approach the bye week. They trailed this game against Tennessee, who came out looking strong, hitting on a number of big plays. Yancey Thigpen, 2 touchdowns from Steve McNair. However, Jacksonville, led by Brunell, they come back, and with 39 seconds to go, they are headed for win number 4. Now, don't forget the post-game show with Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Britt Jones, and George Seifert is coming up for you here on CBS. The Jacksonville Jaguars start 4-0. Tom Coughlin's team made some mistakes, turned it over 3 times today, but in the end, as they usually do, they came back and won the football game. So for Steve Tasker, this is Gus Johnson saying so long from Vanderbilt Stadium, where our final score, the Jaguars beat the Oilers 27-22. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports. Coming up, Jim Nance in New York after this.
Welcome back to the NFL Today postgame show. Jim Nance here along with Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and the coach George Seifert. And the Jacksonville Jaguars now 4-0 on the season, dropping the Oilers to 1-3 as the Jags come from behind to win that game. Meanwhile, the Chiefs beat the Eagles, and the Eagles dropped to 0-4. Beasley Reese at that game at the Vet with a post-game interview. Let's go to Beasley now.
Thanks a lot, Jim. I'm with Donnell Bennett. And Donnell, what a magnificent day. 82 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns today. Talk me through just your satisfaction at your effort today.
Well, you know, the offensive line, they came out and took initiative and really went out to prove a point, and we banged it out in the first half and came back and made some corrections in the second half, and we kept banging for 4 quarters.
Now, were you worried at any point? I mean, you guys really didn't look like the possible Super Bowl team that you just may be in the first half of play.
Well, I mean, that's the nature of the business. You know, you're going to make mistakes, and every time you go out and play, people are going to be ready to play you. They get paid also, and the thing you got to do is be ready to adjust, and that's what we did today.
Now, Marcus Allen is probably listening to this interview right now. Did you learn any? I mean, 3 touchdowns. It was all short yardage. Did you learn anything from Marcus?
Definitely, you know, just to remain patient in situations like that and trusting that the offensive line is going to come up and make their blocks and things will open up for you.
How good can your football team be? A lot of people are saying you might make it all the way to the big one.
Well, we have a lot of potential. I mean, the things that we got to do is keep working day in and day out and be ready to play week in and week out, because teams are going to come in and they're going to come in amped to beat us, and we just got to be ready to adjust.
All right. Thanks a lot. Congratulations. Let's go back to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right. Well, thank you, Beasley. Donnell Bennett. Yes. Did he learn anything from Marcus? I think he said he did. What about this young man? You got to play a couple of years with him.
Well, all year long, everybody was talking about the Chiefs running game. Well, Donnell Bennett is the man. He is just getting better and better. He's playing even well when the offensive line is a makeshift line. So he has a promising career.
Of course he learned something. This is the master of the 1-yard TD plunge.
I'm not going to talk about myself that way.
Denver and Washington, and the Broncos blitz the Redskins, routing them 38-16. And Michelle Tafoya down there with some post-game interviews as well. Let's hand it off to Michelle.
All right, thanks very much. With Terrell Davis, another explosive performance. Some of the Redskins came into this game thinking that the defending Super Bowl champs were going to look past them, thought they were nothing. You guys showed no signs of letting up today.
Yeah, I don't know where they got that from. I don't think anybody said anything on our team as far as putting it in the papers, but I think when you're an 0-3 team, I think sometimes you think that way. You think the other team's going to look past you. But for us, we play each Sunday, and we focus on that team.
Talk a little bit about changing the focus as far as your quarterback's concerned. You find out about the change maybe 5 minutes before the game. Didn't seem to change the offense that much.
Well, we go in there, we run the same package, regardless of if John is playing or Bubby comes in. And that's the great thing about our team is that if I go down, we're not going to change our package. So I thought John was going to play today. I found out 5 minutes before going out he wasn't. And then no one, dropped their heads. Everybody just wanted Bubby to come in there, play well, and just try to give him all the support that we can.
You gave him a whole lot of support. Talk about how you came up with such another terrific game today.
It was all right. I mean, I just try to do my job. The line is blocking well. I have an easy job just running, and hopefully I can find an opening and get some yards and hopefully take get a big run out of it. But I think I have a great supporting cast with Shannon in there, Ross Smith, Ed, and then Bubby came in and played like John. So I don't think we stumbled.
A 4-0 start. I wouldn't call that stumbling. Thanks very much for being with us.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jim Nantz, let's head back to you.
All right, well, thank you. Next up will be the Philadelphia Eagles out at Mile High. And now Norv Turner in his career as the Redskin coach, 0-7 versus teams from the AFC West. We'll be back. All the scores and highlights coming up just a moment. Well, a reminder throughout the entire NFL season, CBS Sportsline puts you inside the game, from late-breaking news and in-depth team reports to sortable stats. Get 24-hour NFL coverage and service on cbs.sportsline.com. How about the New Orleans Saints? They are now a perfect 3-0 on the season, winning in overtime against the Colts. And Mike Ditka sometimes just seems like he can will his team to victory, because Danny Werfel didn't put up the numbers until late. And they got stuffed a couple of times, too, in this game against Jim Mora, who was going against his old squad.
Well, this is a big game for Jim Mora. He wanted to beat these guys in the first way. He was sitting pressured by Peyton Manning, throwing the ball up again. Second interception for him. Tough game, tough physical game. You see Peyton Manning he's getting ran after right there. He's just having a tough day all the way around.
People are going to talk about Peyton Manning's 3 interceptions, but his receivers dropped a couple balls, one for an interception. But you see Marshall Faulk take one of his passes all the way. I think he had over 300 yards passing today.
Faulk had to love this. He was raised in the city of New Orleans, had him in front at that point. Now we're in overtime after a Manning interception. He was picked off by Tyrone Drakeford.
After a dismal day, Clam Kelly makes a touchdown. Young man who was involved in the hazing incident down in New Orleans.
Danny Werfel, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. He's demonstrating that today.
This almost counts as hazing against the Colts, because they're now 0-4. People just toying with them. And can you believe this? As we were going through the highlights there, another note in from the St. Louis Cardinals, and that means Mark McGuire. Earlier, we saw him hit number 69. Just a moment ago, he reached number 70. It can't be. That looked an awful lot like number 62, just a little bit higher. And McGuire with his 70th final day of the regular season. That's just a moment ago.
Didn't you predict that, Brent?
You know it, too.
You're hot.
I got the Raiders and 70 for McGuire. I'm on fire.
Let's get back to the NFL, Arizona and the Rams. Now, talking about the other Cardinals, they won today to prove their mark to 2-2, winning in St. Louis. First time back in their former city since leaving there back in 1988. What about this game?
Boy, here we've got some great pressure by the defensive front finally from the Arizona team. Here's more pressure. Wadsworth getting involved in 2 or 3 plays here that were key as far as the game. Jake Plummer had a heck of a day, not only with throwing the football, but with his movement.
I think the story of that game is Arizona's defense. The Rams had scored 34 and 31 points respectively the last couple of games. Shut down that Ram explosive offense today.
Well, the Cardinals put up 17 points in the second quarter, but back came Banks and the Cardinals, and that set up another touchdown for them. They got even at 17 right here.
There's Robert Holcomb getting rookie scoring, second touchdown of the day. He was 21 for 85 yards in this game.
But then Jake Plummer would put together a winning drive.
What does that look like? Somebody you know, George, rolling off and throwing back against the grain?
I'll tell you, I hate to see that
there,
type
guys.
of thing, though. That was kind of questionable.
And the winning field goal is now the Cardinals improve to 2-2 on the Nedney game-winning field goal, 20-17. The Rams, by the way, have now lost 8 consecutive home games. Seattle and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's just underway. And the Steelers have just completed a pass to move the football into Seattle territory, but there is a flag on the play. More scores and highlights as we continue on the NFL Today postgame show in a moment. All right, some games just getting underway. Includes the 49ers against the Falcons. And this NFC West showdown, both teams 2-0. And Steve Young has just thrown his 200th career touchdown. It went to Jerry Rice, guys. Surprise, surprise.
Did you think he was going to try to get him the ball early?
You did say that, didn't you? I will give you credit for that one. All right, 66 yards to Rice. 49ers with a quick 7. Giants and Chargers, the 4th matchup of the day. AFC West again against the NFC East. And AFC West 3-0 so far today. And how about the standings there, Brent, in the NFC East?
How about the Cardinals tied for first place in the NFC Least?
Tied with the Cowboys. Can't believe
Did I say that on purpose? I don't even know.
You keep saying least. I think you're right.
Yeah, I was thinking it.
All right, Cardinals and Cowboys, both 2-2 now on the season. They are indeed tied for the lead in the NFC Least. And the Bears with 7 on the Vikings, who come into this game trying to improve to 4-0. A long touchdown pass from Randall Cunningham. Minute to go down to Carolina. This has been a wild one. Brett Favre has tied career high with 5 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions, and the Packers lead it, but the Panthers have the football. Again, earlier, the Raiders over the Cowboys, a stunner for many, as that Raider defense came up big today, holding Emmitt Smith to 59 yards. Broncos 4-0, Redskins off to their worst start since 1981. The Chiefs, well, they dashed the Eagles' hopes. The Eagles led for much of the way, but the Chiefs had 17 points in that 4th quarter. Cubs are winning in the 7th against the Astros. What a race for that final wild card spot. Meanwhile, the Giants today are taking on Colorado, and they lead. Looks like a possible playoff tomorrow. Forget about the Mets. They end up closing out the regular season. Well, that right there is not correct. The Mets have lost. They have lost for the 5th game in a row. So it's been quite a day here. Some we're going to call it Upset Sunday, and I think maybe it qualifies a little bit with that win by the Raiders against the Cowboys. For this entire crew, we'll look forward to having you back with us next Sunday. But coming up tonight on CBS, it's 60 Minutes, followed by Touched by an Angel, and then the CBS Sunday night movie Forever Love. Saturday, we're on the air with more NASDAQ college football, beginning with college football today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tim Brando will be here along with Craig James and Lou Holtz. That'll be followed by 4th-ranked Tennessee against Auburn. And then next Sunday, again, we're back here with NFL action starting at 12 noon with the NFL Today. A single-header day it'll be, featuring Miami and the Jets, among other regional action. Until then, thanks for joining us. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for being with us. The NFL on CBS. Good night for now.